Boom. What's up, guys? We are live. So we got QB joining us for debate. So I made a poll, as you guys are familiar, a few days ago, and 75% of you said that you want to see this debate. So we're going to make it happen. But first, let's get pumped up by listening to our new trailer.
How do you feel about big dicks?
We got Sarah J on the casting couch. She's never done this before.
You are allowed to have sex with other girls, but she's not. Fuck that shit.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you personally made?
Shoulder fuckers.
Love that trailer. All right, so let's start off with a little bit of housekeeping. So we decided to make a new rule. So the only new rule we have, it's called the no ranting rule. This is after I debate the fresh and fit guy. So basically what this means is if I ask you like a question, like, hey, yes or no, you're not allowed to go on like a 10-minute monologue about something different. Because last time I debated the fresh and fit guy, there was a lot of monologues and the whole thing was just like a massive mind fuck. And then 3 hours into the debate, we still haven't even established anything. So yeah, no ranting rule, and then we're gonna do like it's only gonna be a respectful debate. So even if you guys like really disagree with QB or something, don't send him any angry DMs or like do anything that's like fucked up like that. All right, so with that out of the way, let's jump into it. So let's start off, I guess, with the intro. Give a little background about yourself.
Right. So QB passport flexing. I'm a travel maxer. Became blackpilled after I pretty much got my passport. But background about me, pretty much grew up in the Southern California area. Used to be a ex-college basketball player for a Division II school in Texas. So when it came to relationships and women, I realized after becoming blackpilled that women are attracted to a guy's features such as height, status, and obviously money. Um, After graduating college, definitely pretty much lived a bachelor life. I had a few relationships with a few girls here and there. The longest relationship probably about 2.5 years, but went out to the bars, clubs. Traveled from uh, Los Angeles, San Diego, Scottsdale. Even went out there in Miami, Austin, Texas, various places throughout the United States. And basically, once I got the passport, like I realized as I'm older that life is kind of on easy mode in another country, especially if you're able to have income from America.
Yeah, so I actually agree with all that. Yeah, of course, it's
Mhm.
definitely easier in other countries. Let's start with I guess with the elephant in the room because this is what a lot of people are going to
Right.
be wondering about. So, what in the world happened on the Duke stream?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of lost my cool there, attacking Kevin Ray Wilder. I think my frustration with a lot of dating coaches is that they're not really transparent. And when I say about showing the receipts, is basically showing that you have an active dating life, that you actually like women. And one thing I can respect about you, Alex, is you have a dating life, and obviously you don't like women that are overweight, and that's and that's shown. But unfortunately, with a lot of these dating coaches, you're not seeing anything from them at all. So that's where the rant came through, over and over and over.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with anything you said. I do think there's a lot of scammers in the space, but it wasn't so. Okay, my observation wasn't that you lost your cool because that happens to pretty much everybody. Like I've
Hmm.
had so many. It was more of the fact that you called out Kevin. You were like, "Yo, dude, like I don't think you got any skills. I think you're gay." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna prove it to you. We'll fly you out there, and we're gonna, we'll go out in person." And then you were like, "Nah, man." So it just kind of reminded me of like the Fresh and Fit thing when like Fresh was like, "Yo, Abba, I'm gonna fight you, man. Let's fight." And Abba's like, "Okay, man, let's do it. Let's set it up." And Fresh is like, "Well, actually, that's kind of what I was referring to. Not so much that you got like kind of animated."
Right. Well, again, I understand that Kevin just recently moved back here to the United States, so eventually maybe we can have that challenge. But until then, it's kind of like I still kind of need to see more evidence from his end, because when it comes to having some type of credibility, I think the audience wants to see again that, okay, this guy is actively dating women, and not just dating women, but attractive women, more or less. So having a channel and telling guys not to give up, no, it's never over, believe in game, but you're not really seeing the results, guys are going to continue to question that.
Yeah, that's all fair, but I think it was more of the fact that you know, you were like heavily questioning his results. So kind of imagine it like this. Let's say
Hmm.
I'm like, yo, like let's say you're an MMA fighter, right? And I'm like, dude, I don't think you can fight for shit. I think you got weak moves. I don't think you can box. I don't think you can fight. I don't think you can wrestle. And I keep saying that to you over and over again. You're like, you know what, dude? Like, okay, man, I'm down to prove it to you. Let's set up a, you know, a friendly you know, sparring match. I'm like, well, you know, I don't know if I have time for that, right? You would kind of look at me a little sideways. You'd be like, what the fuck, dude? You just kept calling me out. And then I just accepted. And, you know, like my audience knows that I can fight. It's not like my audience is pushing for it, right? There's maybe
Right.
one or two people, but like you're the one that was heavily pushing. Hey, I don't think you got the skills. And I'm like, okay, let's set it up in a friendly manner. It's not like he's asking you to put like $5,000 on the line.
Right.
You know, Duke was even offering to fly you out there, right? So there would be like
Right.
no cost to you. But then you just kind of like backtrack. So that's kind of what I think. It had nothing like the way that people were, I guess, like, you know, like just making fun of you, calling you out in terms of that. It wasn't because you got animated. That happens all the time during these podcasts.
Right.
It was just more of that fact that you kept pushing for it. And then when he accepted, you pulled back. You
Right.
see what I mean?
I get where you're coming from, but whether if I take the challenge or not, I still think that it's up to Kevin to show his audience that, look, these are the type of women that like me. These are the type of women that I date in Asia. These are the type of women that I'm currently dating in the United States. That transparency has to be shown. Whether QB wants to take the challenge or not, he still owes it to his audience, in that regards.
Well,
So,
I don't think like
mhm,
as a YouTuber you owe anything to anyone. Like so for example, I don't, you know, I show, you know, quote unquote receipts because I want to, not because I feel like I have to, right? Like he's a YouTuber, like he doesn't owe like people anything. That's like up to him how much of his sex life you want to reveal. As I'm sure you know, there's downsides to being too public with it. Like some of the downsides
right,
that I've encountered is other chicks finding that and saying, "Whoa, you're a player," and like, you know, I don't like a guy or girls being paranoid. Like, well, I've had many times where a girl found my channel and she saw, you know, the receipts I post, and then she didn't want to meet up with me. On second, that there's also potential legal issues. Like, for example, I've had chicks, you know, email me and saying, "Hey, you know, like if you don't take down this, well, you know, this lay report or whatever, you know, we're gonna press charges, stuff like that." So there are, you know, there's ups and downs. So, you know, it's not like he has to do it. It's like, you know, it's a choice that YouTuber makes. I guess again, I don't want to harp on this, but when you're the one that's like really pushing for it, at that point, like you can't like backtrack and be like, well, you know, blah blah blah, because it wasn't like the whole audience was insisting that he show receipts. It was like you were insisting, and you kept saying, "Bro, I think you're gay. I think you're gay." Right? That's a pretty strong accusation. And then like when he's like, "Dude, I'll prove it to you. Like, you know, let's fucking go out. We'll fly you out there," and you're like, yeah, no.
right.
Yeah, that just
Uh,
kind of comes off
I
looking.
mean, the offer, the ball is still in my court, whether I want to do the challenge or not. Um, I know Kevin's just trying to get in a better place right now, so we can still do it in the future. It's really, really not a big deal to me. But again, for me, outside looking in, it's like you're no different from a lot of the other dating coaches that are basically selling a product or a service without actually having valid evidence that, you know, your product works, or you're that guy that is in an active dating life with several different women or with just one girl, whatever that may be.
Well, the thing is, Kevin doesn't really sell a product, nor does he have a service, right? So he's basically just a YouTuber. So it is a little different. He's not like like doing boot camps now without Coach Whitepill, or he doesn't have a product that he's selling. So he's really just giving like he's doing like little street interviews and he's doing like podcasts. He's not really like having a service that he offers. So I think it's a little different. But all right, we can move past this point. I kind of want to address this. So let's move on to the main part of the debate.
Mhm.
Let's start off with this. What do you okay, so actually let's start with this. So do you believe that game doesn't exist?
My definition of game is basically what's pretty much been told to me by other people, peers, including dating coaches, is that a guy, regardless of looks, is able to approach and have success with the women simply by verbally talking to her and building sexual attraction.
So what would you call that process of building sexual attraction and talking to her?
So flirting with her, having a conversation with her, maybe, touching her, directly or indirectly, and that a woman will have sexual attraction towards you just by doing that, regardless of looks. That's my whole perspective when it comes to game.
So you're saying irregardless of looks.
Irregardless of looks. So it can be a 300-pound guy, it can be a guy that's 80 years old,
Oh,
it can be your average Joe Blow, it can be a guy that's a sub 5. All you have to do is just approach. That's it.
yeah.
And coming from a black pill perspective, including my history, it's like that girl has to be physically attracted to you. That's why a lot of women project a lot of dudes. It's not because about what he said or what he did. Is initially from the start, they did not find that guy physically attractive.
Yeah, so the issue here is that you have an incorrect definition of game. So I'll give you
Okay.
an analogy. So this would be like, let's say I'm a personal trainer, and you're like, well, if bodybuilding worked, then a guy with really shitty genetics would be able to get more jacked than a guy who has really good genetics. No, like that's of course looks matter. So the definition of game is your ability to seduce a woman and sleep with her. But that is largely going to be determined by looks, by status, by the situation, by the girl's availability, right? By so many different factors. But there's so again, I think you have and this is a common black pill definition they have. The counter argument that black pillers say, well, bro, if game worked, then you would be able to sleep with every girl. Then why is there videos of you getting rejected? Why do you have rejection compilation? Because it's still like that's like saying if sales work, then you should be able to sell your product to every single person. No, sales skills is your ability. You can sell, you increase your ability to sell, you have a higher sales ratio, but you're still never going to sell your product to every person, just like you're never going to sleep with every woman. So I think that by that definition, yeah, you might be correct, but that's just like an incorrect definition of game because no one is saying that it's irregardless of looks. It's of course looks play a factor and other things play a factor too, like your situation, your status, the girl's availability, the girl's mood will play a factor. There's so many different things to it. Does that make sense?
Right. So I understand where you're coming from, and my perspective is okay, the guy that is able to have success is because the woman found him attractive. So if you're a sub 5 and you quote unquote run game on the girl, don't expect to get with a woman that's a 7 or higher. Expect to have that, you know, equal match looking type of girl. Um, and that's where I think a lot of dating coaches disagree because they sell it to their audience that this can work on any girl, regardless on how you look. It can work on any girl. And as a black pillar, it's like, no, it's okay. If you don't have, the height, if you don't have a certain type of facial look, then regardless of your approach, if that girl doesn't find you attractive, no matter what you say to her, you're not going to be able to build that attraction.
Right, but that's sort of like saying if that's like kind of making the argument if bodybuilding worked, then everyone would be able to look like Arnold, and that there's a lot of fitness coaches who are saying that anyone can get super ripped without steroids. So just because there's a lot of scammy fitness coaches saying that you can have unrealistic results doesn't mean that bodybuilding doesn't work. It's the same thing. Just because there's a lot of scammy dating coaches making unrealistic promises, which I agree with you, doesn't mean that game doesn't work. That those two things are not mutually exclusive. You can have, some people, just like with fitness, you have a lot of scammers in the space. But bodybuilding, we can all agree on that. You can, through progressive overload and being in a calorie surplus, put on muscle. So would you concede the point that there are better and worse ways to talk to women? Like, let's say, okay, let me give you this example. Let's say you
Sure,
have
sure.
two identical twins. They are identical. All their genetics are the same, dressed the same, everything is the same. One of them, but they have two completely different strategies for meeting girls. One of them stands on the side of the street and catcalls to girls, "Yo, ma, get that fat ass over here!" Right? That's his strategy.
Right.
And that's what he does, for 5 hours every day. The other one, he has a completely different strategy. He goes up to a girl and he makes a comment on something that she's wearing. She's like, "Oh, hey, that's a cool shirt. You like Guns N' Roses?" And then he proceeds to flirt with her. He makes strong eye contact. He has good body language. He gets her phone number. Now, would you concede that those two are going to have completely different results with women?
No, and here's why. It depends on how attractive that guy is. So
So they're identical twins. So they're equal.
no. You're saying the girls are identical twins, correct?
No, the
Oh,
two guys are identical
okay.
twins. They look
So
exactly the same. They live in, yeah.
if they look exactly the same and they're attractive looking dudes, so if they're like over 6 feet, let's just say they're both identical basketball players.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're both good-looking guys.
right. So both twins can get the girl, regardless of what they say to her. If the girl finds those twins attractive, if they meet the looks threshold, they can both get her. Period. You know.
Okay, so
Mhm.
one identical twin. Let's call him Bobby.
Okay.
Bobby catcalls at 10 girls on the side of the street. He says, "Yo, ma, that ass is so fucking fat. I'm gonna tap that ass." That's Bob. That's Bobby's game plan. Then we
Right.
have, let's say, Jay. Jay, instead of catcalling 10 girls, he goes up to 10 girls and he says, "Hey, I like your shirt. What's that? What brand is that? Oh, cool." Then he flirts with a girl and he gets her number. So you think that both Bobby and Jay are gonna have the same success rate with those chicks? You don't think it's gonna make any kind of difference, the approach
No,
that they take?
no, it doesn't. It doesn't make any type of difference. If they're physically attractive, we're talking decent looking dudes, athletic looking, um, and you know, they approach both the girls in different ways, it's not going to matter because here's the thing, and you can probably agree to this and you probably witness it. There are situations where attractive dudes can get away with a lot of things with
Sure.
women compared to guys that are not attractive or less attractive. So let's just say the identical twins, they go to the nightclub, they do the same type of approach to the women. It's not going to matter what they say. It's because initially they found them attractive, the girls having fun, they dance, and then boom, before you know it, both the twins are going home with the girl or they're both getting the same type of results. So again, I don't really believe in the whole approach or what you say. It's initially you meet the looks threshold, and then from there a guy should be able to even look at a girl and read her body language before even approaching to find out, okay, if this girl's attracted to me or not.
Okay, so what you're basically saying is like, well, if bodybuilding worked, then why is it that guys with really good genetics can eat junk food and still look good? Yes, of course that good-looking guys can get away with things, but that doesn't distract the point. Now, I want to just don't focus about going to the club. I'm saying
Okay.
in this one specific situation.
Right.
Again, I want
Right.
to repeat the situation. Like, it doesn't
Right.
matter what happens in the club.
Right.
Both identical twins, they both whatever. Let's say they're both sevens or both eights.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
Both
Right.
identical twins. Now, one of
Right.
them hollers at 10 girls, right, from the side of the street, just like a construction worker or something like that. The other one smoothly, confidently goes up to 10 girls and asks for their phone number. Now, so in that situation, do you truly believe that both of them are going to have the same exact success rate?
Yes. If they're identical twins and they meet the looks threshold, they'll have the same amount of success. And to flip it around, let's just say the twins were you know, I don't know, 40 plus, receding hairline, overweight, and they do the same type of approach to the same girl, that girl will say, I'm offended, no thank you, or I'm not attracted to you, and move on.
So you're
Period.
arguing for the point that looks matter, and there's no debate there. I agree with you. Looks matter. Everyone knows that looks matter. So you don't have to convince me that looks matter because I
Okay.
agree with you. We're not in disagreement there. What we are in disagreement upon is that in addition to looks, there's another factor called game. So according to this, so since you said that both of them are going to have the same success rate, so then
hmm
by virtue you believe that catcalling from the side of the street can be used to meet girls successfully.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it before. I mean,
So you've banged chicks from just saying, "Yo, ma, that's a fat ass you got there," yelling at the side of the street. Like that's actually legitimately worked for you to get laid.
I probably didn't say it exactly like that, but I can remember being out there in South Padre Island, and seeing a girl basically twerking it on stage, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and I was kind of on the side of the stage,
Oh, that's
and
dude. That's completely different than you
oh,
catcalling on the side of
oh,
the street. You're at a
okay,
club where everyone's partying. I mean, that's like totally different.
okay, okay. And that specific scenario, no, I've never done that, but it's still, I guess you can't really say that it's similar, but again, I was able to see based on her body language, based on her reaction, that she was interested. She smiled, you know what I mean? And then from there, when she walked off the stage, I talked to her and we got drinks, and then the rest was history. So if I was to see a girl and do the same cat call that you just explained right here, right now, if she turns around, smiles at me, that's an indicator of interest. Then you go to the approach and talk to her, or whatever, and take it from there. But again, it's, you will be able to read her reaction based on your cat call, or when you approach, if she's interested or not, instantly. It's not, it doesn't take a rocket science to know that. So it's literally an instant reaction within a few seconds to know this girl is interested in me sexually, or this girl is not. Period.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you that if you just stand on the side of the street and just catcall a bunch of random girls, you're gonna get zero or very close to zero results. But okay, let me give you another example. Okay,
Sure.
let's say you have two identical twins. They both bring a girl home. They both bring 10 girls home, like just separately, like one date, then the next day the other date. Now, one guy, when he goes home with a girl, he just as soon as they walk in, like after the date, he lays down on the bed, gets naked, and puts a condom on. And this is not, you may be thinking, oh, there's an extreme example. That was actually a client that John had. So this is actually a true story. The other guy, he walks in and he pours a girl a drink. He flirts with her a little bit. He seduces her. He whispers in her ear, and then he starts escalating. He starts making out with her. He starts kissing her neck, sucking on her tits. Do you think both of them are going to have the same exact success rate?
Um, that's kind of one extreme to another.
Well, I have to use
I,
extremes to
right,
drive the point across. Yeah.
right. They still both can have the same success rate. I would
But will
think.
they? Not can they, but will they?
I think more often than not. I mean, if a girl's willing to go back to your place, and you do that right away, just put on a condom, lay there. Um, and we're talking about they're leaving like out of a bar or nightclub situation where they hooked up before, or no,
They never hooked up. They had a date. Let's just say they
they
had a
had a
date.
date.
Yeah, and
Okay,
they didn't want
if it's
to-
if it's a date where they didn't even hook up during the date, terms as like kissing or anything like that, then the guy going back to the place, putting on the condom, and hey, I'm ready for sex. More often than not, that girl is not going to bang that dude.
Right. So that would be an inferior strategy to just going home and laying down naked and putting a condom on to pouring her a drink, flirting with her a little bit, building up some
Right,
sexual tension. So you would concede that that would be an inferior strategy.
right. That's correct. I would agree on that. But here's the thing: when a girl leaves to your place after a date, I mean, that's like a 99.9% um fact that she's interested in you on a sexual basis. Because
Sure.
if she wasn't, she would not leave to go back to your place after the date. She would be like, "Hey,
Sure.
no, you know what? The day was great. I gotta go. I got work in the morning. I'll talk to you later," type
Right.
of deal.
Yeah, you're right. The chances are she's interested, but just because a girl is interested doesn't mean that you had fucked her, right? You can have, you can still fuck it up at that point. Like that guy who's getting naked and putting condom on, that girl may be interested in him, but he's fucking it up more often than not, and you've kind of conceded to that point, right? So, okay, so given the fact that there is one strategy that is better than others, right? Clearly, the getting naked and putting condom on is a really poor strategy. What would you call the difference in those two guys in their approach? What would you call a difference in that strategy? Would you not say that guy who's actually talking to the girl and flirting with her and building up some sexual tension and then escalating versus the guy who just gets naked and just lays there? When you say that the first guy or the second guy, the guy that's escalating, has better game because he's following a better strategy?
No, I would just say that the guy is a little bit more self-aware than anything else. Like a girl, when it comes to having the date and going back to the place, from there things escalate. But just to rush a situation like that, more often than not, a woman will be turned off.
Right,
So
because that's poor
I,
social
I
skills.
I still wouldn't say that it's a part of game because again, if a woman finds you attractive after the date and you ask her to go back to your place, that's kind of a given. It's not, oh, like I said something special. I ran some type of game on her to do that. Is no, she was willing to hook up with me after the date because she found me attractive enough to hook up.
Okay, let me define game for you because I think we might just have different definition, and that's what the issue here. So the correct definition of game, more or less, is your ability to seduce and sleep with a woman. So just having the girl be attracted to you, that's not the end goal. The goal is to sleep with her, right? So your ability to seduce and sleep with a girl, right? So if the first guy, he's bringing the girl home and he's fucking it up, he's not actually sleeping with her, then that's poor game because his ability to do that is very low. Now, the second guy, if he's very smooth and he's hooking up with pretty much every girl he brings back, then his ability to seduce and sleep with a girl is high. Therefore, he has good game. So, given the definition I mentioned, not going off is not going off your
Right,
definition, going off
right.
the definition I mentioned, which is basically the correct definition. Would you then concede that the guy who's not getting naked and putting a condom on has better game because he has a better ability to seduce and sleep with a girl?
No, I still believe that, okay, the guy that put on the condom and the girl got turned off and didn't want to sleep with them, he learns from that mistake.
Sure.
And the next girl that he meets and brings back to the place, he probably wouldn't do something like that right away.
So
So,
he learns to have better game, but it doesn't mean that there was no game present. Yeah, sure, it could be a learning experience. Let's say he doesn't. Let's say he's a dumb fuck who keeps doing the same thing. Let's say he's a big RSD fan and he thinks that doing the same thing over and over again is a good thing. So let's say he does not learn from his mistakes because he thinks that's what he's supposed to do and he keeps doing that. Would you at that point not say that that guy has a lack of game because his ability to sleep with a girl is very low?
I mean, no, because bringing a girl back to your place after a date really has nothing to do with game. Like it's nothing to me, it's nothing special. To me, it's like, hey, the date was great. I find you attractive. Let's go back to my place to go hang out. And a girl will literally say yes or no. It's nothing special about that situation to
Well, yeah, just
really.
because game is not hard for you doesn't mean it's not hard for others. Like that has nothing to do with it. Yeah, game is easy for you. That's awesome for you, but that doesn't negate the point that it's hard for some people and that it's there. That's like a guy saying who has really good genetics saying, "Dude, I don't understand all this fitness shit. Like, man, like I just eat what I want and I just occasionally go to the gym and I look great." Right? I look great, man. Like I don't understand why you guys got to get into all this bodybuilding shit versus another guy who's like, dude, I don't have these great genetics. I have to like really watch my diet. I have to really like write down my lifts and have progressive overload. You see the example there, like that guy saying, like, dude, this bodybuilding shit, man. Like, I just see basically what I want, and like, I don't know, I just look fucking good. So I don't
Right.
know.
Well,
You
well,
guys
well.
get
The
hung
thing
up
is,
a
when
little bit.
when you kind of compare it to bodybuilding and working out, all men we have different genetics
Sure.
and different metabolism.
Yes.
Like we're not all the same,
Right.
physically wise. So, in hindsight, when it comes to attracting women, it's the same thing. There are some guys that are able to attract women more than others.
Of course.
So again, bringing a girl back to your place when you know she's attracted to you, that really isn't an element of game. It's, this woman was down to hook up because she found me attractive and I didn't come off as a creep. That's really it. Now when you're coming off creepy and desperate, um then that's a problem. But when you learn from that mistake,
Why is it a problem?
well, I think a lot of guys when they come into this space, you know,
Like
a lot of
how does being creepy hurt a guy? Like why is it?
right, a lot of dudes are socially awkward, and I think
Mhm.
they're socially awkward because they have little to no experience with women. So,
Yes, but why is it bad? Like how does that hurt them? Like what are the practical benefits for not being a creep?
well, the benefits of not being a creep is basically a guy knows what not to do to turn a girl off. When she is
Well, why does that
interested.
matter though? Why does that matter? Like why is it a good thing to not turn a girl off?
I mean, if your end goal is trying to sleep with
Yeah,
her or build
because
a
you'll get laid more. You'll sleep with more girls, right? Because if you're
right,
a creep, you're going to turn girls off. So the reason
right,
that matters, the reason that's important to not be a creep, is it's not for the sake of not being a creep. It's because you won't get laid. You'll be jerking off at night, right? That's why it's a bad thing to be a
right,
creep, right?
right,
Because your ability to sleep with a woman, if you are a creep, is lower. Like correct?
correct,
You're going to
correct,
sleep with less girls, like two identical twins. One of them is super smooth. One of them is super creepy. The creepy guy will, sleep with a lot less girls. So his ability will be lower.
right. But again, in this situation, Alex, there's many times, and I'm going to speak from experience, to where I meet a girl out, whether if it's a date, nightclub, bar, I bring it back to the place, and from there, it's instant. There are times where I brought a girl back to the place, and she threw me on the bed wanting to
Yeah,
have sex.
sure.
And then there's other times where, okay, we went back to the place and we probably didn't really do anything, or at least we made out. And hey, I got to go home because she want to be a slut that night, whatever. But more often than not, you're gonna hook up. And a guy that's experienced, he knows not to just lay on the bed naked once the girl goes back to his place. Like that's kind of a given. So
Right. Well, some guys do, some guys don't. Uh,
I would say majority of guys, once they bring a girl back to the place, it's literally it's literally handed to you pretty much.
not
Some type
90,
of
99% of the guys do know that. Yes, but let's take something a little bit more nuanced. What the
mhm,
mistake that more commonly guys make? Yes, most guys, with the exception of that one guy, they're not going to just get naked, put a condom on. But what a lot of guys do is they just sit around and they dilly dally for 2 hours, and then the girl gets sleepy, and then she goes home. And then they book coaching calls with me, like, Alex, I understand what I went wrong. I'm like, okay, at what point did you start escalating? They're like, oh, well, I was waiting for her to get comfortable. I was like, dude, it was like 2 hours in. Like she just got tired and she went home. So that's a common mistake that guys make. They just sit around, they dilly dally, they don't make a move, and then the girl just gets bored. She goes home, and then maybe they make a move like right as the girl's leaving, and then at that point the girl's already tired and it's too late. That is poor game. That guy. So there's extremes. You can have the guy that starts like gets naked, puts a condom on right away within 1 second, and that's a poor strategy. And then there's the guy that waits forever, and that's a poor strategy. The right strategy is somewhere in the middle, right? You let her get comfortable for 15, 20 minutes, pour her a drink, and then you start moving things forward. Like, do you agree with me? There's better strategies of what you can do once a girl goes home with you. Like waiting 2 hours or doing it within 30 seconds, that's a poor strategy.
I mean, I hate to use the word strategies because again, it's just reading a girl's body language and
We
understanding.
can call it whatever we want, but like I don't
Right,
think it
right,
matters what we calls it, right?
right. Um, but again, I think guys learn from their mistakes. But I kind of want to say this, like, okay, you give your client advice and tell them this is a better strategy and this works better. Don't do that again. But I think that's like self-given. But let me ask you
Let's say
this.
it's not self-given. Let's say the client did not know that. Let's say it's not self-given. I understand it's self-given for you, but let's say it's not self-given for that guy.
Okay. Well, yeah, you tell them, look, next time when you bring a girl over, take your time with her, read her body language to see if she's really interested in you. And then from there, you know, she will, you'll have a better understanding to escalate things with her or tell her, hey, it's time to go.
Right. So
So
that's a better strategy, right? That the client will have moving forward.
yes.
Okay. So there we go. That's but that's a better strategy because it's going to increase his ability to sleep with a girl. So therefore, his game got better, his skills got better because before he had a worse strategy, now he has a better strategy.
Let me ask you this, Alex.
Well,
So what
before we do that,
oh,
hang on. I will
okay.
happily answer all your questions, I promise.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
just want to, because we're really like starting to get to something. I don't want to like
Okay.
backtrack
Gotcha.
and then come back to it.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
just conceded the fact that there are better strategies that guys can have when they bring a girl back. So therefore, game exists.
And the strategies, the angle that I'm going at is that's based on experience. That's really based on experience because again, you can bring a girl back, okay, and let's just say the dude doesn't get naked right away, and you take things slowly. You offer her another drink. She sits on your couch or whatever, um, and you maybe flirt with her. But if she's not giving you any type of signs that she's attractive or wants to kiss you or have sex, then boom, there you have it. Like she just wasn't really interested in you at all. So it's not necessarily a better strategy. It's reading a woman's body
Well,
language
we
and
don't want to backtrack, QB, because you
okay.
just admitted there are better strategies. So
Well, what I'm admitting to is again, is based on the experience. That's the whole thing that I'm trying to say. Is like, okay, I made this mistake, of creeping a girl out. I know better next time not to creep a girl out. It's
right. You ever hear the expression that dumb people don't learn from their mistakes, smart people learn from their mistakes, and really smart people they learn from other people's mistakes? You're familiar with that? Like,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of fucking dumb people who don't learn from their mistakes. I personally coach them. So let's say you have a guy who keeps making the same mistake over and over and over and over again until they stumble upon one of my lovely YouTube videos and they're like, holy shit, I've been an idiot. This was a really bad strategy. And then they change their strategy and they start having better results. Can you not see something like that happening?
To be honest with you, no. And here's why. If a guy is steadily getting rejected by a girl over and over and over, it's usually because he's not able to attract women, period. And then having a better strategy, that doesn't always equal to have better results. So,
Not always, because again, this is based on the incorrect assumption of what game is. So again, this is commonly a straw man argument that black pillars use is like, well, bro, if game was real, then you would be able to get every girl. If your strategy was that good, then it would work every time. No, of course it's not going to work every time. Of course it's not going to be, but it's going to be a higher percentage of the time. And if your strategy was really, really bad and you start following a strategy that's pretty good, you're going to have a noticeable difference in the results. Like that guy who was either one getting butt naked the minute they walked in the door, or two dilly dallying for 2 hours. If he stops doing that because he stumbled upon one of my videos or whatever reason, and then he starts following like a reasonable strategy where he bullshits for 15 minutes, flirts with her, smoothly escalates, that guy's going to get a pretty noticeable difference in his results. It's not going to be every single time, but it's going to be a noticeable difference. Would you not concede to that? That if that guy goes from doing really dumb shit, like either waiting too long or doing it right away to, being more reasonable and doing all the things that you mentioned, like reading her body language, being smooth about it, would you not concede that that guy's going to get better results?
probably so.
Well, it's not probably. I mean, I think it's definitely so. Like he's definitely going to get better results.
Okay, he's definitely going to get better results.
Okay, so there we go.
Okay.
Why is he going to get better results? Because his strategy is better. No.
You say the strategy's better. I'm saying that he's just learning from his experience and he's learning not to be a creep.
Let's say
Period.
he does. Let's say he's the kind of person who's literally incapable of learning from his experiences. Let's say he can only learn from hearing
Well,
information given to him.
well, to me, if he's not able to learn from his experience, then he might have a social disorder.
Okay. Okay. Let's say it is because he learned from his experience. Let's say that he learned from his experiences. He learned from his experiences. What did he learn to make his strategy better? Right?
I
Why?
say I say he learned from not being a creep, but you can say strategy. I just say he learned not being a creep. Like for example, I've learned okay, I hooked up with a girl, she had a boyfriend. This was way back in high school. I learned not to gossip. You know what I mean?
Yes, you adopted a better strategy.
To keep it on the down low,
Yes.
to not gossip.
Yes.
Okay. So the next situation where I hooked up with a girl and I knew she had a boyfriend or whatever, I learned to keep my mouth shut. That's basic. I don't need to go to a dating coach and say, okay, this was a better strategy. It's like, no, I learned from experience.
It doesn't matter how you learn. Let's say you did learn from your experiences. What does that mean? When you learn from your experience, you learn to what? Have a better strategy. Now you keep saying the creep argument.
Not
Let's
well,
let's,
not to
let's
make that mistake. I mean, that was literally a bad mistake,
yes, it was. So by not making that mistake anymore, you're going to have a higher success rate.
if the girl's attracted to me.
Yes, if the girl's attracted to you, by not making those dumb mistakes, you're going to have a higher success rate.
Yes.
So therefore, that your game got better because game is your ability to sleep with a woman. So your ability to sleep with a woman just got better.
By your definition, yes. My definition, I'm still saying that the
I know,
women's
but you're following an incorrect definition of game. This is a black pill definition.
again, Alex, women sleep with men that they find physically attractive.
No one is denying that.
Right, as long as the guy is not doing any creepy shit and freaking her out any type of way, he's gonna win.
Okay,
But
you keep going back to the creepy thing. So let's take the
Right.
guy who just did it. Yes, I agree. The guy who's just getting naked, putting condom on, that is creepy. But let's say the guy who just dilly daddles for 2 hours and doesn't make a move because he thinks that he read the mystery method and he thinks you have to wait 7 hours before you can make a move on a girl. He's not being creepy by not making a move. He's just not making shit happen. After an hour or two, the girl gets bored, right? Because he thinks, for some reason, because of the mystery method, he incorrectly incorporated the mystery method. He thinks that you have to wait 7 hours before you escalate. And after 2 hours, the girl gets bored most of the time and she goes home. So that guy's not being creepy, but his strategy still sucks.
Yeah, but at the same time, if the guy was decent looking, there are going to be girls that are going to make the move on him.
Sure. Yes, there are.
So
but there are
I
going to be
think
some. Mhm.
so. I think when guys experience, okay, this girl made the move on me, she kissed me, or I don't know, she dropped it on me. When I mean dropped it, like literally like bend over on me and started dancing and getting crazy. It's literally handed to you. So if you experience that several times, then okay, I don't need to listen to a mystery method or wait an hour or two. I just go escalate. Period.
Because you learn from your experience and you improve your strategy.
Well, again, women basically handed it to you or to that guy.
Okay,
So
let me give you
mhm,
another example. So let's say you have a guy, because we can agree that most women are not going to hand it to you. Like you're going to have to be the one that leads as a man. But there are going to be some girls that do hand it to you that make the move. So let's say one guy he brings home 10 girls and 3 of them make the move on him. Like let's say he's following this dumb strategy where he thinks you have to wait 7 hours, and 3 of those girls make a move on him and they escalate on him and he bangs 3 out of 10 girls. But the other 7, they are waiting for him. They get bored and they go home. Right. So he sleeps with 3 out of 10 girls, 30%, whatever success rate in this example. The other guy, he doesn't believe in that strategy. He has a different strategy. He believes that you should give it 15, 20 minutes and then you should start smoothly escalating. That guy's probably going to sleep with 9 out of 10 girls, right? Because he's going to get the girls who are going to make a move on him, but he's also going to get all the other girls who are waiting for the guy to take the lead. So he is going to have way higher success rate, right? because his strategy is better. But neither guy is being creepy. Like the first guy's not being creepy. He's just following a dumb strategy.
Right. Well, again, it goes back to, are those women attracted to that guy?
They went home. They went home with the guy, so they are attracted, right? They went
Okay.
home with him, so
So
they have to be attracted.
if they are attractive, guy number two, he knows from experience and repetition, yes, guy number two is going to win.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter really how he learns, whether he learns from a dating coach, whether he learns from a free YouTube video, whether he learns from experience. He still learned. That's what matters. It doesn't really matter how he did it, as long as he did it. Now you can make the argument that dating coaches are obsolete and useless because everyone can learn this by themselves, but that's a different argument. But the premise, the thing is that the guy did learn, so his strategy improved.
Okay, his strategy. I still disagree, and the only reason why I disagree, Alex, is
you're the most stubborn guy ever.
Because it's just basic knowledge, just basic experience. Like, guys, for the most part, as long as they're not socially awkward or artistic, they know, okay, I know not to make this mistake ever again. It's not necessarily, oh, I got to use a different strategy. It's, this is the mistake I'm not going to make. And then, boom, the next opportunity that presents itself, I know from my past experience, once I know the girl likes me, this is what I'm able to do and achieve. Period.
Not making a mistake is following a better strategy. When you were making the mistake, you were following an inferior strategy, and then you learn not to make that mistake. Therefore, you have a better strategy. Now your strategy no longer includes doing that dumb shit that you used to do.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you another example. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say you have a girl who is equally attracted to two guys. Again, they're identical twins, and she's texting both guys at the same time. And she gives the guys a little bit of a shit test, right? So she says, I don't know if I'm going to sleep with you tonight, right? Over text, right before coming over. Now, one of those guys, he says something cheeky like, don't worry, I hate sex. There's something like that, something a little cheeky. The other guy sends her a long essay giving her logical reasons why she should fuck him. Well, actually, I have a big penis. I can show you if you want. And also, I'm really good in bed. Here, my ex-girlfriend said that I made her come 3 times. He sends her a long essay of logical reasons. Who is the girl going to pick?
Probably number one, bro.
Exactly.
Probably number one. Yeah. But again, it's coming off as long as I'm not creepy and the girl's attracted to me, it's pretty much handed to me. It's nothing special. It's nothing that I got to do special. As long as I don't come off as being a rapist, a weird guy, I'm fun, I'm having a good time. That's it.
Right. Well, that's a whole bunch of things that you just mentioned. Not creepy, not a rapist. I'm fun. I'm having a good time. That's like 4 different characteristics, right?
4 characteristics, but are all the same. Because a guy that's creepy, he's not going to be fun. You know what I mean? He's not going to be able to make her feel comfortable. He's not going to be able to say, hey, come back to my place. A woman can literally sense that a guy's experience with women or a guy that's not experienced with women literally within 10 minutes of a conversation.
Okay, so do you concede that there are better and worse ways to text a girl?
I'm happy you brought that up, bro. Texting, from my perspective, from a Blackpill's perspective, is literally you're texting to meet the girl and have that experience with her. Now, when it comes to using a certain method, I really disagree. If she finds you attractive and really likes you, she's going to respond to you. If she's not interested, then no matter what method you use, she's not going to reply back to you, and you just move on.
Yes, no disagreement. But what you're kind of backtracking because you did earlier just said that guy number 1 is going to have a higher success rate than guy number 2. So if guy number 1 is going to have better luck with the objection handling response that he has, therefore there are better ways to text a girl and worse ways to text a girl.
Well, again, in my view, it's not coming off as a creep. When a guy writes an essay saying he has a big dick and do all these things, and I'm the one, I don't need you to talk to anyone else, that's coming off as a creep. So the easiest way is, look, don't be creepy with girls. Period.
Which is basically a synonym for yes, you can don't be creepy, because that's a poor strategy. Because why is it bad to be creepy? Because you have a lower ability to sleep with a girl. You want to increase your ability to sleep with a girl, and you do that. Like you're basically saying that there are ways you can fuck it up. Like, let's say a girl's into you, right? She finds you attractive, you meet the attraction threshold, but if you act like a creep or you act needy, she might not sleep with you, right? So you believe that you can fuck it up.
Yeah, you can fuck it up by being creepy. If you
Yes.
say something,
Or you can fuck
literally,
it up in other ways too. You can fuck it up by being needy, right? Let's say she doesn't text you back for 5 minutes, you start blowing up her phone. You can fuck it up by that way too.
well, I mean, I know we're kind of playing semantics here, but some girls, they like guys that are needy. You know what I mean? Because they want attention.
Let's talk about on average. Let's talk about
Uh,
most girls.
right. Again, if the girl finds you attractive and she's willing to meet you, as long as you don't send her creepy texts or dick pics or anything like that, you're not disqualifying yourself. So all I'm saying is, don't disqualify yourself. It's not necessarily a strategy or a game. It's don't be that creepy guy. Because again, women, they can sense that, look, this guy's experienced, you know, with other women. This guy is not experienced with other women. Period.
Okay, so you're saying there are ways that you can fuck it up.
Yes.
There
Yes.
are things you
I
can.
do agree with you on that. There are ways
So,
that you can fuck it up.
so you can be a really good looking guy and the girl can find you attractive, but you can still fuck it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do
So
agree.
okay, so when taking a guy, let's say that guy who is someone who keeps fucking it up, and you give them some good advice and they stop fucking it up, you just improve their ability to sleep with a girl, right?
Yes. I would agree on that.
Therefore, you improve their game, because game is the ability to sleep with a girl.
And again, I still go back to that guy's going to learn from his experiences, period. Now, if he finds something on YouTube or he talks to one of his boys, it's literally, hey, you came off as a creep. Don't do that, period. I'm not necessarily, it's not necessarily a game. It's not necessarily a tactic. It's don't scare the girl out. The girl likes you, the girl finds you physically attractive. Don't do this. Don't come off as the creep guy. Period. That's it. And once
Well,
he learns from that little simple mistake, he will have success, as long as he's able to attract women, period.
I think that the problem is that you're relying on that incorrect black pill definition of game. But if we define game the way I explained it, which is your ability to seduce and sleep with a woman, if we define it like the way pretty much anyone else would define it outside of the black pill, then that guy, by no longer fucking it up, because you've conceded that there are things you can do to fuck it up. So it's not lookism is absolute, right? Because that would imply there's nothing. If you're a good looking guy, you can't fuck it up. Like the girl's gonna fuck you no matter what, right? So you're conceding that's not the case. There are things you can do to fuck it up. So therefore, because there are things you can do to fuck it up, you can improve your ability to sleep with a girl by not fucking things up. Therefore, you improved your game.
I still say you learn from experience, but again,
Let's say you
the
learn from experience, right? Like, okay,
Mhm.
let's say you did learn from your experiences. You learn from your experience, your ability
Mhm.
to improve. Doesn't matter how you learn, YouTube or experience. You
Right.
you you are gonna be able to sleep with more girls because you learn from your experience. Therefore, you improved your game.
I guess, Alex, but here's the thing. What I want to say, bro, it's
Black pillars are so determined not to use the word game, but like you guys believe in game. I just think that you guys are like ideologically very stubborn.
no, the problem, the issue that I have with game, bro, is you're only able to attract the women that find you attractive, period. Okay. So this strategy that you just explained, if I'm a five, this is it. This is only going to work on girls that are fives. If I'm a seven or a 7.5 or an eight, it's pretty much endless. Okay.
Right. So
So,
now we're arguing about something different. We're arguing about
okay.
the limitations of game. So, but even if there are extreme limitations to game, that doesn't mean it exists. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So now you're saying, well, yes, game is real, but I think there are really strong limitations to it, and that's a separate argument, right?
Okay.
That's like having the argument. Okay, fine, I concede that bodybuilding, exists, but I think that a guy who's natural will never look as good as a guy that's on steroids. That's a separate argument, and we can argue about the limitations of being a natural bodybuilder, but we still have to concede that bodybuilding, progressive muscle overload exists.
I just, to go back on your first argument, I just think that when guys make a mistake by creeping a girl out, they learn from it one time and they'll never do it again, because you know why? They want to sleep with girls. It's real simple. And I think the argument that you're trying to say is there are guys that they'll repeatedly make the same mistake. They'll creep the girl out. They'll do things where they'll literally mess it up. Okay. And they'll keep doing it over and over. So therefore you have to learn game so you don't make those same mistakes. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory that I did this by myself. I turned her off. She left. The next girl I have this opportunity, I'm not going to do what I just did. I'm going to do something else, which, remain calm and, try to, talk to her in a tone where she's comfortable with me. And that's really it.
Right. So, okay. So, first of all, whether you learn from one bad experience or 100 bad experiences doesn't change the fact that you learned and you improved your approach, you improved your strategy. Therefore, your game improved. Now, it doesn't matter if one guy only took one set of mistakes and one guy took 100. They still improved. The second flaw in your logic is you're assuming that just because for you it was really easy to learn from your mistakes, therefore it's like that for everybody. But that's not the case. There's a lot of guys who keep making the same mistakes over and over again, and I was one of them. There's a reason why for the first 19 years of my life, I got zero pussy. I was still probably the same looks. I have a little bit more muscle now, a little bit less hair, but I was probably similar SMV since I hit puberty. I never really changed. But for the first 2/3 of my life, I was getting zero pussy, like zero. I kept fucking it up with pretty much every girl. And then I very, very, very slowly learned not to fuck it up. And therefore, my ability to sleep with women improved, i.e., my game improved.
Okay. Okay. I
feel like you're following me. Like my logic is like making sense, but you just don't want to, ideologically don't want to admit that I'm right about this thing called game. And again, we can argue about the limitations of game. That's a separate argument.
Right.
But I just think it's really hard, given the examples I gave, to say that game doesn't exist. Because again, game is your ability to seduce and sleep with a woman. And you've conceded many times there are things you can do to improve your ability to sleep with a woman. Therefore, game must be real. Therefore, it's a thing that exists. Because if game didn't exist, if your ability to sleep with a woman wasn't a thing, then there would be no such thing as fucking it up. Because there's no such thing like your ability to sleep with a woman will be fixed based on your looks. So a guy who's good looking could not fuck it up because every girl's gonna fuck him because there's no ability. It's just a given.
But let's just say you're right and I agree with you, okay? Let's just say that. What about the guys that cannot attract a woman, okay? Because your definition is the ability to sleep with women, to seduce and sleep with a woman.
Yeah.
The guys that can't and don't have the ability, how do you fix that? Because I feel most of the guys that come to this space, whether they're black pill, red pill, blue pill, they come to a dating coach, they're saying, look, Alex, I'm not able to sleep with these women. I don't have the ability. How do you fix that?
Okay, so
if you agree that it's based on looks, because you agree with me, it's based on looks.
Well, I agree. It's looks and game. So I think looks very much matter and game very much matters. Okay. But so now we're getting into, so I just want to be clear on this. We're getting into a different thing. Now we're getting into the limitations of game. So now you're basically saying, well, okay, this thing called game might be real, but I don't think it can work for guys who are really ugly. So game might be real for decent looking guys, but I don't think it's real for ugly guys. Now we're getting into the limitations of game. By talking about the limitations of game, we agree on the virtue that game exists. So that's a different thing. So to answer your question, it really depends on the guy's situation. Why is he not able to attract girls? Is he, for example, is he overweight? Is he have a really fucked up sense of style? Is he saying a bunch of creepy shit? How is the guy going about meeting girls? So it would really depend on his situation. So you'd have to give me a lot more info. But most guys, a majority of guys, look, there are a small subsect of guys who just have weird facial defects and are like horrendous. And for those guys, it's going to be really, really fucking hard. But aside from that, for most guys that are like, whatever, like not getting results, it's actually a series of fucked up things that they're doing and that they are. So for example, usually those guys are either overweight or they're underweight. They probably haven't gone to the gym. Their style is fucked up. Their haircut is fucked up. Their facial hair is fucked up. And also the way they go about meeting girls is fucked up. They're either, doing it in a completely wrong way, like they're catcalling, or they're trying to DM like models on Instagram who have 1 million followers who are not going to respond to anybody. So again, it would be very case specific, but I would have
Right.
to.
But let's just say, would you agree with me that, okay, a guy can looks max, okay, which black pillars we believe in looks maxing,
So do I. Yeah.
but I believe there's limitations for looks max. And so a guy that went from 300 pounds and he went to, I don't know, maybe 180, maybe 200, or maybe 225, but he's only 5'1".
There are
Okay.
limitations to looks maxing. So a guy who's a 4 out of 10 is never going to be a 10 out of 10. I will never be a 10 out of 10 unless I become like famous or get status. But looks wise, I will never be a 10 out of 10. I can get a hair transplant. I can keep putting on muscle. I can get like super ripped. But I'll never be a 10 out of 10. Maybe I could be an 8, 8.5 out of 10. So yes, there are inherent limitations to looks maxing, of course.
Right. So again, those guys that were able to looks max and they're still saying, look, I lost the weight, I got the hair transplant, but I'm still not able to attract women. Okay. That's what the black pill is saying. You can looks max, you can money max, you can social max. With maxing comes with limitations. Okay. And if you're still not able to attract those women, then it's basically because you don't meet the looks threshold.
So,
Period.
so
Mhm.
black pillars, they like to talk about the law of averages. So black pillars will commonly use the argument, well, 90 something percent of guys who are in this situation, i.e. they're 5'3", are not able to get results. Therefore, you're fucked. But for every type of statistics, there are outliers. So I would say, okay, what do you have to do to become like that outlier? Like, what do you have to do to be like that guy, the guy who is 5'4" and
Mhm.
getting results, even though he's the minority of time? What is he doing? How do you become the outlier? And I can tell you this, for pretty much close to every set of physical circumstances, I have heard of outliers, people doing it. So for guys who are super short, I know guys who are short who get late, but they're the outliers, yes. But how can my client or that person who's coming to me, how can they become like that outlier? Like, why would they want to be like the averages? The example I commonly use is my aunt. She got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer like 10 years ago. And when I Googled it, pancreatic cancer has a 95% death rate, right? So, but my aunt didn't go, well, 95% chance I'm going to die. How, she was like, okay, what do I have to do to be like that 5% who survived? And she's still alive, right? She wanted to be the outlier. Of course, it doesn't work that way, always work that way, but this is a lot less serious than life or death. So
Right.
it's like, what do I have to do to be like the outlier? And that's what the direction I would push that guy in. And I think the problem is Blackpill encourages nihilism. It says, well, dude, like most people in your shoes are not going to succeed. Therefore, what's the point of trying? Versus
Right.
my approach would be like, no, like, yes, granted, most people in your shoes don't succeed, but how can you be that one guy who succeeds? How can you be part of those outliers?
Right. And so to respond to you on that one, let's just say they did do game. Okay. They went to Alex, they went to a dating coach or whatever, but they're still are not able to attract the women that they desire. Okay. Now, would you agree? Does game work for everybody? Can any and everyone do game and attract the women? Can every man on this planet do game and attract the women?
Every man on this planet can increase their ability to seduce and sleep with a woman. But that doesn't mean that that ability will be high. You can take you can every guy can work and improve that ability. But maybe that guy is like, let's take an extreme example. Maybe that guy is missing both of his legs. So yes, he increases his ability, but that ability is still low, and he's not sleeping with girls. But his ability is higher, and if he runs the high volume that's necessary, he will eventually sleep with a girl. Let's say he took that ability to sleep with a girl from 0.5% to 1%. So if he talks to 100 girls, he will fuck one of them. But that ability is still really, really fucking low. At that point, he really has to make a determination whether it's worth it for him to keep, pursuing banging chicks, or whether he should just like fucking, yeah, like kind of whether he should just move to a different country, maybe whether he should just fucking at that point be a eunuch. I don't fucking know. That's a decision that he's got to make. But every guy can improve their skill level, but that skill level might still not be high enough to get him the kind of success that he wants.
Okay. And that's where the black pill is saying, look, it still comes with limitations, okay? And you said the dude with no legs, that's still part of looks. Women are not going to be attracted to a guy with no legs. So if you're not getting the
No,
results that you
hang on. Let's kind of lasers not has nothing to do with your looks. When I was a virgin,
legs, I mean legs,
oh, legs. Okay.
legs. Okay, that's still part of looks. But again, they ran game. They have very little to no success. So you agree that basically it's still limitations.
Of course,
It can be a 1% or it can be 100%.
of
But
course, there are limitations.
if there's limitations and they're still not getting the results that they want, a black pillar is saying, look, just go pay for it. Go to another country and go pay for it. What's your opposition against that?
I have no opposition to that if the guy chooses to do that. I have no opposition to that at all. This is like me personally. I'm an extreme ectomorph. I've been training for 5 years, right? I follow a really strict diet. I look pretty good without a shirt, but I'm not as jacked as I want to be because I have genetic limitations, right? So of course, I will never look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, no matter how hard I train. I can train every single day for the next 10 years. I will never be Arnold because my genetics are not nearly as good as his. So of course there are limitations. And if that guy decides that he prefers to move to a different country and pay for sex, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's his decision.
Okay.
What I am against is nihilism and telling that guy that he has no hope in the first place, that he shouldn't even bother trying because most people who've tried in his shoes have failed. That's what I don't like.
Okay, so my opposition against that is, and I'm not saying that you do this, but a lot of dating coaches will have a client like that where he tries and tries and he's buying this product, he's doing this one-on-one, he's paying this amount of money, and he spends over $1,000. Okay. What a black pillar is saying, don't even waste your time trying to learn that. Go to another country, go pay for it, get the results you want, and then you will never have to deal with the concept of wanting to learn game because you know that it's based on your looks. We both agree that attraction is based on your looks. Whether you want to say it's a part of game or not, attraction is still based on your looks.
Yes, it's based on your looks and your game and your strategy. Yes, they're both important factors. Yeah, but of course, looks is a key part of that factor. Yes, I agree with you. That is definitely part of your looks, and there's inherent limitations to looks maxing. And also part of it is the strategy that you follow. And you can say that that strategy is largely not fucking it up. Fine, but not fucking it up is still a strategy. So yes, there are things. So would if that guy chooses to just move to a different country and get an escort, I mean that's his decision. I'm not going to like criticize him for it, but I do think that's a little bit of a sad existence, especially if that guy never really tried. Because I've had sex with 2 escorts in my whole life. I can tell you both times, I just didn't feel good about myself. I like it, to me, it was just like very like unsatisfying. I just felt like shit. And so I personally would not want to keep fucking escorts. Like that didn't make me feel good. I feel a lot better being able to attract girls naturally and sleep with girls naturally. So for me, this is a lot better. And for most of my friends are exactly the same way. Like, so yeah, I mean, I do think that it's better like that guy can learn to sleep with girls without having to pay for it, that he's probably going to be better off and happier in the long run. But sure, having that as a last resort, nothing wrong with that, I guess.
So when you mentioned about sleeping with the escorts, you didn't like doing that, and you only slept with 2, and you'll never do it again.
I
Was
never
it
said
that?
I'll never do it again. I
Oh,
just I
okay,
didn't enjoy doing it. Maybe
right.
when I'm 90, I'll do it.
Okay. Was it the actual sex with the girls that was bad, or basically you paying for the sex, you felt bad, or maybe a combination of the
It's a
two?
combination of both because they're just not as into the sex because for them it's a job, and also just the feeling I got that I have to be the guy that pays for it. Like that's not a good
Right.
feeling.
So
That's
this is where I disagree respectfully.
okay.
There are escorts that will sleep with men and give them passionate sex because that escort finds that guy attractive.
Well, she found
Now,
if she found him that attractive, she wouldn't charge him money for sex.
well, again, there are guys that pay for sex that are Chads and Tyrones and that are
Sure.
millionaires. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if the woman's attracted to that guy, whether he pays for it or not, she's going to give him that passionate sex. Period. It's not the fact that he paid her; it's the fact that she found him attractive and she was willing to do all these crazy, wild sexual acts on this dude.
But she didn't.
Hindsight.
But she didn't find him so attractive that she just gave it to him for free. Because if she found him really, really that attractive, then why would she even need the
But
money?
but the thing is, let's just say the attractive guy went to a strip club and you know he met the girl there. I mean, when you go into that scene, you're gonna exchange money. You know, like a girl.
Well,
n-
actually, I would respectfully disagree on that point.
Okay,
You can sometimes fuck a stripper without paying money. I've seen people do it. Like I've seen John literally pull a stripper from a strip club. I was with him like while it happened, and there's strategies that you can use. You separate yourself from the customer frame. There's little strategies you can use. So, for example, when the girl says, "Oh, daddy, you want a lap dance?" Instead of saying, "Yeah," like, "Oh, I'm just chilling," and you make yourself seem like you're an industry insider, like you bartender, you DJ. So there are strategy things that you can do to
so
get out of the frame.
there's game to basically have to go into a strip club or a brothel and not pay for sex with the women.
Brothel, no. Strip club, yeah, potentially.
Okay, so you go to the brothel. Let's just say you go to the brothel, okay? And if you're attractive looking dude, going back to my argument that I was saying earlier, that girl will do passionate sexual acts with you. If you're not an attractive guy, she may even give you double the price, or she may only give you 10 minutes and you just paid maybe $300 or whatever amount of money that you paid for her. My point is, again, the black pill still goes to that other side of the realm. Even if you're dealing with strippers and escorts, if those women don't find you attractive, they're not going to give you the passionate sex. And if you're a guy that meets their looks threshold, they're going to give you passionate sex. They're going to say, all right, next time you pay me half for what I charged you before, or you're right. They may not even charge you at all, but it's because they found you sexually attractive.
Sure, I will concede that strippers will treat you differently if they think you're hot. Yeah, okay, but that I would sure, but I would say like that's not something I would personally want to do in the first place. I don't care if the stripper finds me super attractive and she gives me 90% off and she gives me really good passionate sex. I still don't want to pay for sex personally.
Okay, that's your choice. Respect it. But again, when a lot of guys have failed at game, because not every guy can succeed at game, all right, which I don't believe in, but
Oh,
not
hang
every.
on. Let's not backtrack. Let's not backtrack because
Okay.
you did concede that there are better strategies. There are better strategies and there are worse strategies. So let's not backtrack. Now we might be
But
arguing.
that to me, that's still not game, though, Alex. It's just learning from my mistake. You know, if I have the ability to attract women based on looks, because we both agree that attraction's based on looks. I know, okay, I made this mistake with this girl that was sexually interested in me. The next girl, the next opportunity, I know not to do that ever again.
Yes. So
To
therefore,
me,
mhm.
it's not game though, but it's all right. We'll just say that it is game. All right. But to me,
but,
it's not
but
game.
but according to the definition I gave, game is the ability to sleep with a woman. Like just let's go just go off that definition. Like just forget
Right.
about all these other
And
definitions.
that's determined on her finding you sexually attractive based on your looks. Because here's another reason why I don't believe in game. There has been many of times, maybe you experienced this, maybe John Anthony experienced this, and other dating coaches, where you literally said little to anything to a girl at a bar or a nightclub. It was just an instant hookup. You know, you saw her from the corner, she saw you, you started dancing with her,
Yes.
and then boom, you take it back. So I've been very successful doing that in Mexico, you know, Guadalajara, Monterrey, Mexico City, all these other places. And I don't even really speak Spanish like that.
Yes,
So that's
I get it. There are certain situations where you don't, where like there's close to no game required because the chick is so into you. I get that. Where like literally you would have to shit your pants in order to fuck it up. Where the girl is so into you that you can do a series of fuck ups and still bang her because she's so into you. I get that. But there are other situations where the margin for error is a lot smaller, where just doing a few fuck ups will ruin it. Like you conceded the fact that there are things you can do, like in that example that I gave, where the guy's either getting naked right away or he's waiting 7 hours to escalate. That guy's ability to sleep with that chick will be lower. Like you can see that point. Therefore, that guy's game is worse because game is your ability to sleep with a woman. His ability to sleep with a woman is lower if he's waiting for 7 hours or he's getting naked right away. I think you keep going back to the black pill definition, and the black pill definition for some reason says that, you know, game is your ability to sleep with a girl regardless of looks, which is not the correct definition. Like I can say like, well, bro, you know, I get your definition of bodybuilding, but my definition of bodybuilding is the ability to get jacked regardless of genetics and steroids. Therefore, you know, I've had situations where I just popped a shitload of tren and I got more jacked than you going to the gym and following your strict diet. Therefore, I don't think that bodybuilding hypertrophy is real, right? That doesn't negate the point. There's like logical error that you're making here.
For the sake of this argument, let's just say that I agree with you, okay? Which I don't, but let's just say I
think you do. You just don't want to concede the point.
No, you admitted that your definition of game is a part of looks. A lot of these men, they don't even have that part of looks that matters to even quote unquote game the girl. So if the looks are not there, then how can you really do game?
If you're like some hideous creature who the girl finds repulsive,
yes, we'll go with that. Yes,
then you're fucked. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to run insane volume. I mean, there's that dude who has he's like a motivational speaker. He has no legs and no arms, and he has a pretty hot girlfriend, right? I mean, that guy's like the extreme exception to the rule. God only knows how many chicks he had to talk to before he get a hot girlfriend like that. But you know,
are we talking about that guy where he was on MLD and Rolo's show? That dude?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm talking about a famous motivational speaker. Like he's like millions of whatever followers. No, that was like some random person that MLD just like found.
Okay.
Yeah,
but again, it's like you're limited if you don't.
Yes, we all have our inherent limitations. I have inherent limitations when it comes to my bodybuilding. As hard as I work, I have limitations of how jacked I can be. And yes, really ugly guys have inherent limitations to how much success with women they're going to be able to have. A guy who's really ugly is not going to have the same success rate as me. Like, let's just, for sake of argument, say that 10% of the girls I approach, I sleep with, which is pretty like reasonable. A guy who's really ugly, for him, that might be 1%. He would have to approach 10 times, and that may sound not like a lot, but it is 10 times as many girls as me in order to sleep with as many girls as I will. It might be 0.5%. He might have to approach 20 times as many girls. There's a lot of factors to it. I mean, where we live and all that matters. So yes, I'm not saying that everyone's on the same playing field. No, some people are wildly on different playing fields than other people, but everyone has the ability to take their skill level and ratchet it up a little bit. But that guy who's really low, because they're so low, even when they ratchet up their success rate, that success rate is still going to be really fucking low to the point where they just get discouraged. They don't want to do it.
Right. And let's just say you're right for the sake of this argument. Let's just say you're right, which I still disagree, but let's just say you're right. Why do that high volume approach, okay, when you know you're going to have very little success, and say, you know what? I can only improve my looks so much. I don't want to have to deal with these high volume of rejections. With
that's totally fine. That's a personal decision that guy makes, and if he makes that decision that he doesn't want to deal with that,
but why can't? But hold on, why can't dating coaches say, look, for certain dudes, you're gonna have to do P2P. If you want to bang hot chicks, you don't even have the looks to even do game. Therefore, you need to go pay for it in another country.
Well, because I don't want to give the guy limiting beliefs. Because if he's willing to do the volume, he can. I think it's important to give people realistic expectations, and I've always done that. But if you give that guy realistic expectations, he says, "Hey, listen, I know that I'm gonna have to do a shitload of volume, but I would rather do that shitload of volume than have to, pay for sex." Then that's his choice. Why is that so wrong that that guy chooses that? If the other guy says, "You know what, I don't want to deal with the shitload of volume that I have to do. I'd rather just go and travel to a third country that pay for sex," that's fine too. Both are respected decisions. But what I don't want to do is tell a guy who has below average looks, you have to pay for sex. You can't, you should not take the game route because you're going to get rejected a lot. You should not do that because most people in your shoes choose the easy route. I'm not going to tell a guy that. That's a personal decision they have to make.
Okay. And my perspective on that is if they take your route and they run the high volume and they said, "Look, I don't want to do this anymore," and they pay for it, you would agree that's acceptable. Yes or no?
I mean, I almost never do more than one coaching session with a guy. So like I literally I'm known for that. Like if a guy books a coaching session with me, like that's it. Like I usually call and say, "Hey, how many coaching sessions do I need?" You have a package of 5 to 10. I'm like, "Dude, you're gonna need like one." So
Right.
I won't keep taking a guy's money over and over again. Again, that just has to do with me and who like my ethics. But yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, I agree with you that you shouldn't keep leading guys on and giving them false expectations. Just,
Yes.
just it would be in the same way that let's say I'm like kind of naive and I go to a personal trainer and I say, "Hey man, Arnold is my favorite bodybuilder. I want to look like him. What do I need to do to look like him? And I want to stay natural." It would
Right.
be unethical for that fitness trainer to tell me, "Yeah, you can look like him. Let's just work at it," because I will never look like Arnold, at least
Okay.
not without steroids, massive amounts of steroids, right? So
Okay.
yes, I agree with you that you should give clients realistic expectations, but equally, just like if I went to that guy, that personal trainer said, "Hey man, let's say I was like I was like really skinny, right? Or let's say, okay, let's do a different one. Let's say I
Okay.
was overweight. Let's say I was kind of fat, and I went to that personal trainer and say, "Hey man, I want to get my life in shape. I want to lose fat, and I want to put on muscle." And that guy said to me, "Dude, don't even bother. You have shitty genetics." Like that would be kind of fucked up too. If he told me like, "Don't even bother, dude. Just you're kind
Again,
of
that guy is telling you that you have limitations. No matter how much bodybuilding and fitness you do, you're gonna have limitations
yes."
and gaining muscle mass.
But that's different than telling don't even bother, don't even try. There's difference between saying to a guy, "Yes, you're going to have limitations," and then saying don't even bother. Those two can be very different things.
Okay, got
And
it.
that's what I have a problem with this extreme nihilism that I see in the black pill of telling guys don't even bother. Don't even bother unless you're this like giga chad. If you're not a giga chad, then don't even bother. Your best thing you can do is paying for sex. That's what I don't like.
Okay,
Like, if a
and
guy chooses on based on his own accord, like he would rather pay for sex, than go through the hardships, that's totally fine. That's his choice.
right, I get that. What I want to say here is that again, guys, when they try game and they have you know little to no success because they don't meet the looks threshold, there is another avenue, which is obviously, pay for play. But let's just say, for example,
But don't
a
you
guy
think that's
like,
kind of like a depressing avenue? Like, don't you see
Mhm,
that? I had a podcast recently with
sure,
a hardcore black pillar, and I think he's like way more hardcore than you. But
of
oh, actually,
course,
no, sorry, he was MGTOW. He was a little. I guess that's a little different. But his whole thing is that he doesn't even bother with paying to play. He just got a fucking robot, and he bangs his robot. And
right,
he told me
TFM,
how it feels for his robot. Like
right.
I was just listening to that. I'm like, yo, that's fine. Like we live in a free country. You have the right to do that. But that's like so sad. Now, granted, paying for prostitutes is not that sad. But I still think it's like kind of sad. Like I like, like being able to cuddle with a girl. I like being able to chill with a girl. I like the affection I get. There's more to it that girls bring to my life rather than just pure sex. So, like when you're just
Well,
paying to
well,
play,
well, well,
you're
well
missing out on
again,
all.
you have guys that they learn game, they go out on dates, You know, they in relationships. They date single moms because they want to have the passionate sex. They like the attention from a female. They enjoy the company of a woman. But at the end of the day, those guys that, again, where the girl wasn't physically attracted, she leaves the guy for a better looking dude. That's also sad. You know, it's like, man, I learned game from this dating coach, and this girl still left me for a better looking dude. You
Well, a
know,
lot of that had to do with just him picking the wrong kind of girl. There's certain, like, if you pick a girl who's a shitty ass human being and is very selfish and narcissistic, no amount of game is going to keep her loyal. Like, that's just a poor
but the
choice to
thing
go.
is, again, there's guys that are able to attract more women than others. So if he's limited, you know, let's just say he did the whole game gambit and he finally got a girlfriend and this is the best that he can do and he still got effed over, then it's like, look, I need to do something different to avoid having this situation. So if a guy's not really attractive and he can't attract decent amount of women, then paying for it to where he can avoid a situation like that is beneficial long term, because it's like, look, even if I want to have the girlfriend experience, you can still do that with a prostitute. And a lot of you dating coaches say, okay, you can run game and you can run game on a stripper and not pay for it, but then also you can run game and not even pay for girls on seeking arrangements, bro. Like, explain that one to me, because you
How
admitted
can,
to be.
how you can, yeah, I fucked many chicks off seeking arrangement without paying a single dollar. Are you asking me how can
how,
you,
how does
you do
that
that?
work? Because from my knowledge, okay, and I don't have a membership, but I have friends that have a membership.
Yeah.
That's $100 a month, bro. That's a
Yeah.
hundred a
Well,
month.
it's like 89 a month, but yeah, close enough. Mhm.
Right. So to me, it's like I'd rather go pay, you know, a stripper or a whore in Tijuana for that amount than being on a seeking arrangements website where there are notoriously sugar babies to try to have sex with a girl for free. Because if you have the looks, you just go on Tinder and Bumble. You don't need to pay for a seeking arrangement. So
Well,
please,
Tinder, you're paying $30 a month, right? Because the free version sucks.
well,
So,
The Tinder Gold, but again, there are guys where because they meet the looks threshold, you know, whether they're attractive, you know, hot girls or not hot girls, they can still do the Tinder free and still have success, right?
I suppose you're going to have less results with the free Tinder because you are limited in how many swipes you get, and you can't see the girls who want
Okay.
you. But yeah, sure, I can see that you could get laid without spending a single dollar. I mean,
Yes.
that's like saying I could, you never pay, like when I go on dates, like I will pay for drinks, so I could probably get out doing that, sure, but then I will fuck up, quite a few situations. And I will miss out on opportunities. So me personally, I'm not cheap. I don't care about paying 30 a month or
Okay.
$89 a month. That doesn't like bother me at all. Just like I don't care about like paying for girls Uber, or I don't care about fucking paying for her like one drink. Now that to me is wildly different than paying her, $500 cash to fuck. I guess a lot of that, I guess, might come down to personal preference.
Right.
Uh,
So why pay for seeking arrangements, okay, when you know that that's a sugar baby website? And how do you get the girls for free? Because you've done it, Fresh and Fit, John Anthony, all you guys do it, and that's a site strictly for sugar babies. Tinder, Bumble,
Okay,
90%
so
of the chance.
let me kind of
Mhm,
explain that. So, seeking
mhm.
attracts a whole variety of girls. There's generally speaking five categories of girls that you will find on Seeking. The first category is the hardcore sugar baby slash escort. These are the girls who are hardened. They've been doing this for a while. No amount of trickery, game, anything is going to get you to fuck those for free. So those girls must be screened out. And they're probably 60 or 70% of the girls that you're going to find on Seeking, depending on your city. The second category of girls you're going to find on Seeking is the amateur sugar baby. So she's never really done it, or maybe she's done it once. She's heard about it. One of her friends told her about it, but she doesn't really know how it works. And she feels a little awkward about it, but she's curious about it. Maybe she needs a little extra money to pay for her tuition, but she's never been a street hooker. She's never, charged money for pussy per se, but she's interested in the premise of it. And the third category you have are girls who are just tired of losers and they want to date a successful guy. They actually don't care about making money off the guy. They're not trying to get money from the guy. They just want their boyfriend not to work at McDonald's. They want a successful, motivated guy. The fourth category of girl they're going to meet on Seeking, and this is my favorite category, are the young chicks who want a 50 Shades of Grey type of fantasy. So they watch 50 Shades of Grey or they read My Secret Garden and they want to meet a Christian Grey. They don't really care about money. They just want a guy who's yeah, he's like a rich millionaire who's super dominant. They have that 50 Shades of Grey fantasy. And they are, granted, they are the minority of girls. They definitely do exist. I said 5. Okay, let's just say those are the 4 categories of girls you will meet. So what do you do on Seeking? Well, first thing you want to do is you want to screen out the first type of girl. And those are going to be the majority, like in Miami at least. I can't speak for other cities. Miami, no, they're like a solid 60, 70%. You can't do anything about those. You screen those out. The other types of girls, you got to put in which category they're in. And you can get a feel for it pretty quickly. But with those girls, what you do is, and again, there's like if it's the 3rd or 4th category, they're not even going to bring up money. They're just they might ask you what you do for work, right? But they're not going to be like, so how much am I getting if we meet up? They're not even going to bring that up if it's the 3rd or 4th category. So with those girls, you just invite them over and you have a drink and you just run normal game, normal interaction, escalate, whatever you want to call it. If it's the 2nd category of girl, then you would probably want to reframe it. So that girl will probably bring up something about, money or not. She'd be like, so how does this work? So you're going to reframe it. You're going to say something like, listen, like, I'm very selective. I want to get to know you and see how we click, and then we can discuss it, right? You're going to reframe it. That's a very simplistic version. So with those girls, they're like, oh, okay, this guy has a lot of options. The potential money might be possible down the line, maybe not. Now, you're not explicitly telling her you're going to give her money down the line. No, but you're saying we can have that discussion later on. And then she comes over and you run basically normal game. And that's, in a nutshell, what you do. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, that's up to the other person. For me personally, I think I would rather spend $89 a month and bang really hot chicks off Seeking, granted the fact that I do have to screen a lot of girls out, than travel to Tijuana, inconvenience myself, and pay for a street hooker for that same amount of money.
Okay. Well justified. But again, on Seeking, right, the ones that want to give it up for free to guys, guys like you, that's still based on looks, correct?
Well, it's based on looks. Yes, they find me attractive for sure, but it's also based on the strategy I follow. So, for example, if I had an identical twin and he was, sending really dumb texts or he wasn't scheduling properly, like let's take the creepiness thing outside. Let's take AMS. You're familiar with AMS?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So his whole thing is don't confirm with girls. He says that, a girl should just show up. You just show up on the date. That's a really dumb strategy because if you don't confirm, what reality happens is most girls just make other plans and they think that you're going to flake on them. So they preemptively flake on you. So let's say that a guy, I have an identical twin and he sets up dates with 10 girls, right? And he doesn't confirm that 9 or 10 out of those girls are going to flake. Let's say I follow my strategy, which is confirm the night before and the day of, right? You want to confirm the night before and the day of. And let's say I still have a high flake rate, but instead of 0 out of 10 girls showing up, 3 out of 10 girls show up. We have the same level of looks, but I got more girls because my strategy was better. So I think it's a combination of those things. Yeah.
Right. Now, here's the thing. For guys that are decent looking dudes, for one, I don't think they need to really be on Seeking. That's one. 2, it's like, okay.
Well, you don't need to do anything, right?
Right. Right.
It's a
right.
choice.
You're right. It's a choice. But 2, it's like, if I can go out and meet girls in person, whether it's this, out at the grocery store, the gym, bar, nightclub, if I can do that successfully, then why do I need to depend on Seeking arrangements or a dating app? Because on these dating apps, and you can agree, 80% of the people that are on there are dudes. It's only 20% of women. So it's literally like going into a bar or nightclub where there's 9 dudes and 2 girls. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, you know what? This place is whatever. I'm out. I'm going to go to a better place because I'm going to have a better opportunity to meet girls in that venue because of the ratio alone.
Yeah. Well, it's the same reason that you travel to Mexico for, because you want to increase your odds and it's easier over there. So I'm sure you can get laid in California, but you go to Mexico because it's easier over there, right? And that's the same reason why a guy might go from Tinder to Seeking, because it's easier on there. Now,
So Seeking is easier than Tinder.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
because like you said, Tinder is I don't know if it's 80% dudes, but it's up there. Seeking is much more balanced. Like the amount of, or just take it based on this factor, the amount of incoming messages I get on Seeking is like 5 to 10x the amount of incoming messages I get on Tinder. But I'm still the same person because my competition on Seeking is a lot worse. Because on Seeking, my competition is old married dudes who are trying to cheat on their wives largely. Versus on Tinder, it's like literally every single guy who's straight and is horny. So yeah, my competition on there is a lot lower. Therefore, I'm going to have better results. But whether you should do it or not, I'm not arguing. I'm not saying people
Right.
should be on
Right.
Seeking, but it
Right.
is a choice. And I'm explaining to you why someone would do it. It's the same reason why you travel to Mexico, because even though you can get laid in California, you're going to have an easier time in Mexico. I guarantee when you go to Mexico, you get more matches on Tinder than you do in Cali, because I've personally done it. I can tell you that when I travel to Mexico, all the times I've been there, my matches on Tinder 5 or 10x, even though I'm the same person, because it's easier there. It's an easier marketplace.
Right. So and here's one thing that I admit that I do like about your channel. You have traveled, you've been to Colombia, you've been to Eastern Europe, and you have success. And
Yeah.
I think you made a couple of videos on that. However, you agree that travel maxing guys can get better results, whether they want to pay for it or not. They can get better results. I can definitely tell guys, look, if you go to another country, you don't have to worry about all this stuff that's here in the United States. You don't have to worry about
Well,
competing.
depends on which country we're talking about. But assuming we're talking about like third world countries like Mexico and Colombia, then yeah, of course, it's a lot easier over there.
Okay, now if you agree on that as a dating coach, how come you don't promote that more often than not? You did before, but now it's like, okay, black pillars are saying, hey, go to this country, go to that country, travel max, geo max, whore max, club max, whatever you want to do max. Okay.
Mhm.
As
How?
a date,
Yeah, so
yes.
I've actually talked about it quite often. I've said that multiple times. Like, yeah, Colombia is awesome. I mean, I've had multiple people email me saying, "Dude, I was a little afraid to travel, and then I read your, saw your videos, read your lay reports, and I went to Colombia, and I fucking loved it." I mean, I have countless emails or messages like that. So I have personally directly inspired multiple guys, over 10 for sure, to travel to just Colombia. Poland is another big one. So I have said that. However, I don't think it's the end all be all, because for a lot of people, they don't have the luxury of traveling. Like a lot of people, they work a 9 to 5 and maybe they can go to Colombia for 2 weeks out of the year. So I also offer other things that you can do while you're in the US. But if you have the luxury of traveling to Colombia, that's great. Do it. Sure, it's fucking awesome. Aside from just sex, it's also a great experience. I think traveling is a lot of fun. But I don't think it should be the end all be all. And for the guys who don't have the luxury of traveling or don't want to, or the guys, maybe they do have the luxury, but they're really focusing on their business and they don't have time, to travel. I want to offer them something they can do while they're here.
Okay. And my argument to that is, again, if guys have money to pay for a dating coach, to me, they have the money, the luxury to go and travel. So if guys can get better results in another country,
Well, not necessarily. Some guys, they might have the money, but they don't have the free time from work. Like they have to be at work all the time. Like they have a physical job. They don't work virtually. They have a physical job they need to report to, and they can't just take 2 weeks off. So they might have the money. They make a lot of money in their tech job or whatever job they do, or driving garbage truck, whatever. But they don't have the time. So there's a lot of people who don't have the luxury of traveling.
right? But again, if that guy is not getting the actual results, okay, if he's not getting the dates, let's just say we agree he's a tech guy and he only has weekends off or maybe a day off. If he's not getting the results from building attraction with the women here locally, then instead of not paying for it, it's like, okay, travel, make the time to go and travel. If you have time to learn quote unquote game, then you can make the effort to go and travel and go to another location to where you can have better
Or
results.
you can do both. You can travel and you can improve your strategy so that when you travel you have better results. I know guys who went down to Colombia and banged like one chick the whole time they were there, or didn't get laid at all. because their strategy fucking sucks. Or you can do both. You can improve your skills. You can get better photos. You can get a better Tinder profile. You can learn how to talk to girls better. You can learn how to be more confident. You can learn how to escalate better, and you travel max, and then you really crush it. Because when I've taken a total of 3 trips to Colombia. One was in 2014, something like that. One was, don't hold me to the dates, but it's like a ballpark.
Right.
2015, I think. One was one was 2014, one was 2016, and one was like 2017 and 2018. Basically 3 trips. I can tell you that there was a drastic difference in my results between my first trip and my last trip. My first trip to Colombia, I banged like, I don't know, I was there for like 10 days. I banged like 3 chicks or 4 chicks. Pretty good, right? By most standards. The last time I was there, I was literally actively turning down girls because I was tired of fucking, because there's so much volume coming in. Now, I would say that I'm pretty much the same looking guy. Again, gained more muscle, lost a little bit of hair, right? But my strategy, my photos, my profile, the game that I brought to the table was just radically better. So I got much better results. So yeah, there's a lot of credence to doing both, to optimizing your success rate. Furthermore, if we can agree that America is a more competitive marketplace than Colombia. So if you're able to get results in America and you're able to learn how to compete in a very competitive marketplace, when you go to a less competitive marketplace, it's going to be easy mode. You're going to crush it. So if you can develop your skills in a competitive marketplace, then when you go to a really easy marketplace, it's going to be like fucking like easy mode, right? Because you've already built up those skills. That's like a guy who's like practices, benching 300 pounds for, a year. Then he just benches 150. It's going to be easy as fuck. He's going to do that 100 times. So it's the same thing. So there's a lot of advantages to
now.
doing both.
Let me ask you this, but I think I know the answer. Would you say you have better results in Colombia compared to Miami or Miami?
Of course, Colombia. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised. I thought you was gonna say Miami. So for a guy, let's just say for a guy that can travel and said, you know what, I'm getting results, but I'm matching with BBWs, chubby women, older women, like women that I don't desire. So if they can travel to another place and have better looking women, let's just say women that are under 25 with no kids, college girls, decent looking women, would you promote that? Would you tell guys, look, based on my experience, you should go here to this place if you want these type of girls. If you're struggling to get these type of women here in the United States, go to another country, and more often than not, you'll probably have success getting the desirable girl that you want.
I have done that many times. I've had many clients who I told them to, dude, like fucking, you got to take a trip out there. Like if I have a client, for example, who has a very flexible job, like they work from home and they have the disposable income and they're into like, let's say porn star looking big booty Latinas, and they live in like Chicago or something like that, that doesn't really have that. And they're like, yo, Alex, I'm thinking about coming out to Miami because I know you're there. I'm like, dude, don't come to Miami. Go to Colombia. You're going to like it more there. I have done that many times, and they send me texts thanking me afterwards. So yeah, of course, I think travel is great. I love travel, but it's great not just for sex. There's other benefits to travel. Sure, but I think that just because travel works doesn't mean that game doesn't work. They're both great things. Learn game and travel. Then you're going to have even better results. You can be the guy that just refuses to learn game and just travels, and I'm sure you'll get some level of results, or you can get even better level of results by doing both and working on your looks maxing. Then you're going to get even better results. A guy who, like, let's say you have a guy who just travel maxes, but he doesn't looks max and he doesn't learn game. Yeah, like he might get some results, but let's say that same guy, he looks maxes, he learns game, and he travel maxes. That guy's going to crush it. Why not do all 3? Like, I mean, if you're limited on time, then you do have to make strategic decisions. But for a lot of guys, they're not limited on time. They're just lazy and they don't want to take the work, or they have unrealistic expectations, or they're just afraid of rejection. So,
got it.
Let me take one quick question before
sure,
we end,
sure.
Directly related to our conversation.
Okay.
Hang on, I want to take this. Okay, wait, where's this question? It was from Caduceus, I believe. Oh, I might not be able to find it. Too many questions. All right, never mind. I can't find it. Just keep going.
Okay. So you being a dating coach, you having success with women, now you have a girlfriend, or is it an open relationship? Like, what is it more or less?
It's a one-way open relationship. So basically, she bangs me, I bang her, and I bang other girls. But I only have a relationship with her, so I don't date other girls.
Okay. Now, from the outside looking in, can any guy establish that?
Um, with like my type of girl, or with any type of girl.
With your type of girl, to be in a relationship with a girl where she only bangs you and you get to bang other girls, what is it that you were able to do to accomplish that type of relationship?
Well, I told her, we had this conversation recently. I told her I had to bang about 100 girls to get to one of you, meaning that someone who's cool, who's fun, who's loyal, who's smart, who I can trust, who doesn't give me any drama, who is just awesome human being to be around. I had to bang about 100 girls to get to one of her. So I think the first thing that guy has to do is he has to be able to get to laid. He has to be able to get laid a lot, because you're going to have to bang a lot of girls to find one chick who you like, and then the next thing is a girl who's going to be open with that kind of situation. So not every girl is going to be down with that. There's some chicks who won't be down with that. So you have to go through a good amount of girls. But if you're getting laid a lot, then that's not that hard. You have a lot of options. Like, let's say you're banging 3 or 4 girls a week, then you can just afford to wait a few months until you bang one girl who you really, really like, and she's really, really cool, and then you can have a similar type of situation. Let's say you're banging 2 girls a year. Well, you're gonna wait a really fucking long time to find a girl like that.
Right. And so basically, she agreed to that relationship on those terms, and you're allowed to be with other women, and she doesn't get jealous, correct?
No, she does not. But like, I can't, like, for example, like start dating other women, but I can bang them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, again, what was it that you did to where she agreed on those terms?
Well, I didn't really, we were hooking up for about, like, I want to say, like, 9 to 12 months or something like that. So we knew each other quite well, and we were hooking up, and there was a lot of attraction and chemistry, and we were both starting to like each other and catch feels, I think. And basically, we had a conversation. I told her, what I was comfortable with, what I wasn't comfortable with. She told me that what she was comfortable with and what she wasn't comfortable with. Like, for example, she's comfortable with me banging other chicks, but she's not comfortable with me, like, going on a romantic date with another girl, right? Like, that for her is a hard no. But for me, just banging another chick, even if it's a few times, that doesn't bother her. So, we both just kind of establish what we wanted and what we didn't want, what our parameters were. And then, there was overlap, so we were able to make something work. If there was no
Right.
overlap, then, nothing would have worked, probably.
So, what's the difference between that relationship and like a friends with benefits?
Well, a friends with benefits is usually the girl can bang other guys too. That's one.
Okay.
And two, there's not emotional intimacy. So, you're just fucking. There's no feels involved. If you're in a relationship, like, you have feelings for each other. Like, I legitimately care about her, and like I think about her often. Like, as corny as it sounds. So,
No,
like,
it's not corny. No, no,
there's,
I'm not clowning you. You know what I'm
no, no, I know,
saying?
I know. I'm just saying,
Right.
like, so
Right.
there's, like, legitimate feels involved. I would say that's, like, the big difference.
Okay. Okay. Now, me personally, I feel that for a guy to accomplish that, she has to be really, really attracted to you to have to agree to those guidelines. Because if she's an attractive girl getting hit on by other guys, there is a guy that can tell her, look, I would just be solely committed to you compared to a guy that you will allow to sleep with other girls, even though he's not dating them. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, I do think she's very attracted to me, of course. I think a girl has to be very attracted to you, just be in a relationship with you in the first place. Well, I think the component that a lot of red pillars miss is the concept of investment. So why is it that my girlfriend doesn't, like, just leave me for the first higher value guy that comes along, right? Because there are
Mhm.
better looking guys than me in Miami. There's a lot of them. There's richer guys than me. There's guys who have higher status. You know, she's a pretty girl. She gets hit on fairly often. Why does she not leave me for them? Well, that's because she's really invested in the relationship, right? And she has no investment with those guys. That's why I think hypergamy is highly overrated. So yeah, she's very invested with me, and she's not invested with those other guys. So therefore, she's not going to trade up at the first opportunity she gets.
Right. Oh,
Go ahead.
and last question in regards to that, because I was just curious.
Mhm.
What about one day she says, "Okay, Alex, I just want you to only bang me and me only. You can't bang other girls on the side." What would you do then?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't work. I mean, like,
Okay.
if this was like 5, 7 years ago when I was younger, I would have probably lied to her and I would have said, sure, babe, that's okay. And I would have just cheated on her. That's what I used to do when I was younger. But, you know, I've learned from those mistakes because that usually doesn't end well. Either I felt guilty or you get caught. So nowadays, I would just probably reject the idea outright. I would say, listen, babe, like, I understand that's how you feel, but I personally can't do that. Like, I am not able to do that. I don't want to build resentment towards you. So I have to say no. At that point, she would have to make a choice whether she wants to continue going as we are or end the relationship. But, you know, I'll probably be upfront with her at this point. But when I was younger, I would have just lied to her.
Okay. All right. That was it in regards to that. You know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that again, like, but it did take me like over 100 girls I had to bang to get to one of hers. So, you know, if you want again to really like good, like if you want to have a similar relationship to me, it all starts with the ability to get laid. You know,
Well,
if you can't get laid, you're not going to get into a relationship.
I think guys that are able to accomplish that are basically dudes where women know that, okay, this guy is attractive enough to bang other girls and he's the best option, so therefore I'm going to agree on that.
Well, I
Not
don't think I'm the best option in Miami. I think there's way better options than me.
well, again, yeah, there's way, better looking guys
Yeah,
or guys that have more money, but
yeah.
you're her best option, correct?
Well, I think she can get better looking the guys than me, and she has. I've seen some of the guys she used to hook up
Uh,
with in the
uh,
past.
Aside from looks, I'm just
Oh,
saying
okay. Overall. Oh, yeah,
overall,
yeah,
right, right.
yeah,
So for guys to accomplish that with a girl like how you have the relationship that you have is, again, you have to be her best option and she has to be in compliant in those terms. But as you mentioned, you went to 100 girls to get a girl like her, and that's probably not going to work for like most men, more or less.
Well, I think a lot of guys probably don't have the same drive that I do, but there's also a reason why most guys fail at being entrepreneurs, right? That why do they say that 90% of restaurants fail? Why do most entrepreneurs fail? Like, because being an entrepreneur is hard and you have to go through a lot of failures. When I started my business, I had in the first 2 months, I had lawsuits, takedown requests. I had so much fucking shit. I had like 4 things hit me at once. I think most guys would have probably given up in my position before doing this thing. I worked in corporate sales, so I was making pretty good money. So I think most guys would have just gone back to what they were doing. But I
Mhm.
didn't. So yeah, I do agree that most people probably don't have my determination, but that's the reason why I've been able to fuck hundreds of girls or have like a successful business is because I do have that high level of determination. And sure, I had certain advantages. I'm not bad looking. I'm fairly articulate and funny. I also have my own set of disadvantages, but
Right. Okay. Okay.
yeah. Is there anything else you want to discuss before we take some questions?
Um, what is basically your opposition, more or less, against the black pill?
Well, kind of, it's a lot of the stuff I mentioned. I don't like
Right.
this idea of nihilism.
Okay.
I don't think that's good. That's healthy. It's like I see it almost as like if a doctor told my aunt, listen, 95% of people who have pancreatic cancer dies, so you should just say goodbye to your family and give up. You're probably
Mhm.
gonna die. Like I would have not liked that, you know, and that would have been really sad if my aunt gave up and died. Now, of course, the stakes are higher when it comes to diseases like cancer, but you know, I do think it's really sad for guys when they just give up and you know they just say like, oh, I better get a sex doll or you know just rely on escorts or whatever. So that's one thing. I think there's some things that get factually wrong. Like they keep arguing that looks are everything. Looks are everything, but there's more to it than looks. I think there's looks and game, and they're both important factors. I know guys who are better looking than me, way better looking than me, that have slept with a fraction of the girls that I have, and they live in the same city as me. So, what do I have that's over them? They might go out just as much as I do. I don't really go out that much, but I fuck more girls because my skill level is higher. There's a reason why I fuck more girls now at the age of 32 than I did when I was 18, 19 and a virgin, even though back then when I was 18, 19, I was in college and I would go out 5 nights a week. 5 nights a week, and I still was a virgin. Versus now, I go out maybe 2 or 3 times a month. Yet I fuck more girls, so the volume I'm doing is less. So I think there's a lot of things that the black pill gets wrong like that. But my main issue is the nihilism.
Okay. And that's part of the reason why I created my channel, is basically to give black pillars an outlet saying, look, you don't have to have a nihilistic approach when it comes to women, when it comes to life. Is you realize, okay, you're able to get women based on your attraction, and there's limitations with that. And if you don't want to have to go through the whole gamut of Tinder, seeking arrangements, and all these apps or whatever, you can go to another country and have the results you want. You can either pay for it, you can still go out, you can still party, you can still club, or you can meet women online, more or less.
What exactly, Poon Professor, what exactly am I lying about? Like, actually write out what I'm lying about. I want to see this. Go ahead. Okay. So in terms of what you said, on your channel, do you talk about looks maxing?
I haven't got, right now it's just basically travel vlogs, more or less, but I will start making videos in regards to, the black pill, looks max and money max and location maxing, because
because I feel like looks are the main things that matter, then the focus should be looks maxing.
Right. Because for me, like how we talked about earlier in the stream, I've never really struggled with women here at all. You know what I mean? It's more or less that I'm tired of having to simp sometimes for girls. I'm tired of going out on expensive dates. I'm tired of going out to expensive nightclubs. Miami.
Why do you have to simp for girls though? Like why do you have to do that?
Well, just give them attention, not necessarily simping, but attention over and over, terms of texting, um, DMs or whatever, when I already know that, okay, based on them being here, they're attractive looking girls. There's going to be hundreds of dudes that are going to try to get at them. When I go to another country, I don't have to deal with that.
The competition is less. Yeah, the competition is a lot easier. In third world countries, people are worried about making money. The guys are worried about finding food, putting food on the plate, so they don't have time to go out and bang girls. Of course, it's easier. All right, Poon Professor, I still don't see an actual list of things that I am lying about. Like I don't want to hear dialogue. I don't want to hear a lecture. I just want you to write out specific things that I am lying about. You said I am lying to, I guess, everyone. So just write out what exactly am I lying about. Any message that does not include specific things I'm lying about is just you being a piece of shit. So go ahead and write it out.
Right. So for me, playing, and I know you're saying Mexico's a third world country, but there's a lot of people in Mexico that are living a lot better.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, look, you don't have to play on you football, right? And John Madden, right? Alex?
Do I know who?
Football, like the sport.
I'm familiar with it. I've never played like professionally.
Right. You don't have to play on the professional level, basically all Madden level. When you go overseas, you can play on the lower level, and it's a lot easier to have success with women.
100%.
So that's where my focus is going to be in regards to lookism and the black pill and travel maxing. But I will say this though, again, if you don't meet the looks threshold, even when you travel to another country, the women will still deny you, just like how they do here in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let me just quickly address.
Sure.
Alex, you freaking needed to defake your game profile and then claim that chicks met you game, them showing up nothing like you defake. Get the fuck out. Okay, that's still not things that I'm lying about. So if you know that I created a deepfake profile because I made a fucking video on it because it was an experiment, That's not me lying about it. That's just you being critical of my game. So I want you to write out specific things that I am lying about. I don't want to hear your bitching, your moaning, your lectures, your little black pill theory, whatever. I want you to write out, what am I lying about? Go ahead. Anyway, he's not going to be able to do it. Anyway, moving so to what you said. So what about the guys? And I think that's fair. Yes, I agree with you that when you go to those countries like Mexico, Colombia, Eastern Europe, it is like you're playing in a way easier division, right? So I
Right.
agree with that.
Right.
But what do you do for the guys who are like decent looking? Like, let's say they're pretty decent looking guys and they go to Colombia and they're like not really able to get laid there. Because I personally know guys like that who've gone overseas and they still weren't able to get results without like paying for it. So what advice would you give to those guys?
Right. Well, in Colombia in particular, I got to be honest, Alex, like Medellin, it's a lot of undercover pros out there. And when I mean
Sure. Yeah.
undercover pros, undercover prostitutes. So obviously you got to learn Spanish, hablo español es poquito, but más aprende todos los
Sure.
días. That helps right there. Two, I think social maxing plays a big role. So when I travel to Mexico and Colombia, always make friends with the locals. It can be your Uber driver, it can be the bouncer, it can be the bartender. And those are usually guys that, hey, you like going out, man, I'm going to put you at the best table, or I'm going to tell you the best club where most of the girls go at, and I'm going to make sure you get the best deal. A lot of guys, they just show up with this American entitlement status. Like, look, I'm an American, you bow down to me and you should like me. And it doesn't work like that over there. So guys that are not getting the results that they want, they need a social max. They need to learn the language. And I think they just need to have patience. And what I mean by patience is, don't expect to go to Colombia for 2 to 3 days and you meet a girl and she bangs you right away. Now, again, if you're really attractive, you might meet a girl that will do that. But not every girl is going to do that. And if they don't do that, it's because, look, you're just here for the weekend versus spending a whole week, maybe a couple of weeks, to where you can meet many different girls because you're going out, you're running your dating app, and you're social maxing with the locals.
Let me just quickly address. Okay,
Sure,
so 340 women utter BS period. Okay, so you're basically throwing shade in my lake count. Okay, so let's do this. So you pick the lie detector facility of your choice in Miami. I will go do it. I will pay for it. But when I'm proven right that I have fucked between, and I would say my range is between 300 and 500, it might be higher than 400.
Damn.
Then you have to pay me, let's say, 3 times the reimbursement cost. So let's say it costs $500, you have to pay me $1,500, and you have to make a public apology video. Would you agree to that? You pick the facility, I pay for it, but when I'm proven right, you have to reimburse me at 3 times the rate. All right. Anyway, so in terms of what you're saying, so you're kind of outlining some pretty good strategies. Yeah, I mean, I think another thing you can do is, for example, is you can get better Tinder photos, right? Because if you have good photos, you're going to get more matches and you'll have better results. So it might be advantageous to a guy who's thinking about going overseas. Before he does that, is for him to actually, get some really good Tinder photos, test them, and then he'll get way more matches on the dating apps, and then he'll have more fun. So that would be another thing that we could talk about, but that's a strategy, right there. That guy, another thing he could do is, if let's say he is going to like Colombia for 3 or 4 days, well, how about a week before going over there, you set your Tinder to Colombia and you start talking to the girl. So when you arrive, you already have like multiple girls that are down to meet up. Right? That's also a pretty good strategy. So I think that when you combine travel maxing with like strategy maxing, let's call it that, since black players seem to hate the word game, so let's just call it strategy maxing, right? We're going to come up with a new term. When you combine with that, that's where real magic is, right? When you're playing on easy mode and you have a really good strategy, then your results are going to really skyrocket. So I think that in addition to talking about travel maxing, if you talk about strategy maxing,
right. Which I would agree. But this is where I disagree when it comes to the dating apps. Even if you improve your photos and get professional photos, if you're still not meeting that looks threshold where women find you attractive, it's still not going to matter, So, if you're a guy that, I don't know, let's just say super receding hairline, or that's really old, you take the professional photos, you're in the suit. Okay, instead of getting no girls on Tinder, you got a fat single mom. So it's like,
Sure.
damn, I tried that strategy. That didn't really work. I tried another strategy. That didn't really work. So now it's like, if I want to have access to these type of women, this is what it's going to require. It's going to require me to travel to a place where prostitution is legal. Yes, I can still get at the local women and still try. Let's just say he still tries to run game, but at least, at the end of the day or the end of the night, okay, I'm not successful with this girl. This girl didn't find me attractive. I know where to go pay for it, and then, the problem solved right then
Yeah.
and there.
No, I mean, I agree with you, though. There are going to be certain guys who are so ugly that no amount of improving their photos is going to get them, results on dating apps, no matter where they are. But most guys are not in that extreme category. Most guys are not giga chats or not like insanely ugly. Most guys are somewhere down the middle, right? That's like the law of averages. So let's say you have a guy who is like very much average. He's not ugly and super short, but he's not good looking either. He's just average looking. And that guy, I've coached a whole shitload of them just by getting much better photos. They can go from getting like 1 match on Tinder a day to getting 10 matches on Tinder a day, right? Because they go from looking like a 4 to looking like a 6.5 or 7, still through photo maxing, let's call it that. And then if that guy then goes to a third world country like Colombia, those 10 matches a day can become 30 matches a day. So that's where the real magic is. So yeah, I agree for a certain small percentage of guys. Yeah, like I don't care how much they optimize their photos, they're still going to really fucking struggle. But I think most guys are not in that category, especially when they get to a third world country. If they optimize their photo, they can have a decent amount of matches coming in. And when they combine that with learning how to text girls better and not doing dumb shit over text and not fucking up and not failing shit tests, not handling objections suboptimally, then they can really start getting good results. Yeah.
Now, real quick, how do you determine the rating? Okay, because for me, a guy's rating is based on the women that he's able to attract. So throughout, my past with women, the girls that I've been successful with in relationships, in my opinion, have been 7s and higher. You know what I mean? So that's here, California, that's in Texas, that's in Mexico, even in Colombia. But from your perspective, how is it, what determines the number? Aside from what We Waffles is saying, because that's something I totally disagree.
Yeah, me too.
Totally, okay?
Yeah.
I'm 6'4", 220, 227. Height plays a significant role. You know what I mean?
Agree.
And when I go to Mexico, a lot of people still think I'm a professional basketball player, but that's because I try to maintain, my physique. So what's your determination on a guy's rating?
Well, I think it's kind of subjective. So you can have, for example, I can show my photos to 2 girls, and one of them can say that I'm a 6, and the other one can think I'm an 8. But I think no girl is going to think I'm a 1, and no girl is going to think I'm a 10, right? Unless she's lying, right? So I think if I show my photos to most girls, I'm going to get a range probably between 5 and 8, right? So I think it is subjective though. Like depends. Does a girl if a girl likes black guys, she's not going to find me as attractive as a girl who likes blondes, right? There's I live in Miami. There's a lot of Latin girls, and a lot of chicks will just see my blue eyes and blonde hair, and they'll be like, "Oh, I love blondes," right? And you wouldn't do as well with those girls because you're a different category. But there's some chicks who love black guys, and they're going to look at me and they're going to be like, "Yeah, he's okay, I guess, but he's not my type." So I think it's subjective, and I think it's hard to put a number on it. And I agree with you that dudes are notoriously bad at rating other dudes. So that's why I kind of largely disagree with Wee Waffles' system. But I don't think it really matters. I don't think you really need to, if you want to get feedback, I guess you should ask 10 different girls that you don't even know and just do an average of the rating they give you.
To me, it's really determined by the way the women looks, the girls that you slept with. So if you slept with women that are overweight, are chubby, less attractive, well, that's kind of your rating.
Well,
But
no, I would disagree with that because look at this comment. Pete Davidson, he's an ugly guy, but he's fucking Kim Kardashian and other hotties. So, you have examples of ugly guys like Pete, fucking hot girls. And I've seen examples of really good looking guys with fat chicks. I've seen guys who are close to Giga Chat level and they're with fat chicks. I've seen that personally in Miami.
but on Pete Davidson, again, status,
Yes, sure.
status plays a role,
Yes.
and Kim, I gotta be honest, yeah, she is an attractive woman, but she's at the end of her prime. This is not a 21-year-old Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is now 42. Okay. So,
She's, I mean, sure. She's also an A-list celebrity, and I think like millions of people would give their left nut to spend a night with her. But okay, fine, fair point. But
right.
again, I've seen guys who are like really good looking who are with unattractive girls. I've seen that time and time again. I'm sure you have as well. And then I've seen guys around Miami. I see the opposite. I see guys who are like average looking, and they're walking around with these smoking hot Latinas with like the fattest asses. So I don't think just necessarily the kind of girl you're with is a representative of your rating system. If that was the case,
Well, then it's your overall S&V, right? Because the guys that are average with the smoking hot Latina, okay, average looking, but okay, we don't know if that guy is a manager for a Fortune 500 company. So he has the status right there, and then he's followed by the money. So that could be a coworker or an intern that's trying to have sex with this dude or be with this dude so she can elevate in her career. So to me, that's where it's looks, money, status in line with what most black pillars would agree. But more often than not, because that guy is average looking, she would smash Chad and Tyrone, and they're not paying for that. That's the booty call. That's I'm sorry, And the reason why I say that is I've been in situations like that. I've been the guy where the girl's cheating on this dude, and I'm like, wow, that's your boyfriend, But again, he's playing in the beta position.
yeah, I mean, I used to have an ex. She was quite hot. I don't think you'd have a hard time finding videos of her, but she was like at least a solid 7.5. My
Okay.
Venezuelan ex, and the guy before me that she was with, I've seen pictures of him. He's like a 3. He's like horrendous, and I was like, how the fuck? I was actually confused myself. I was like, how did he get with you? And she's like, well, honestly, I was getting out of a bad relationship. I met him through my friends. It was right place, right time. He was really smooth. He was really charismatic. And one night, I just banged him, and he was really, really good in bed. He made me come a bunch of times, and we wound up dating for a very long time. So, that's a guy who was way below her level, in terms of SMV, but he still got her. And there was, of course, a huge element of luck to it. I think if he approached her at a bar, he would have gotten rejected. But yeah, no, I don't think that it's just a representative of the kind of girls you're fucking, because again, then there wouldn't be those situations of people who have differing SMVs. Like there wouldn't be those cases of successful guys who are like good looking and make good money walking around with fat chicks. Like that wouldn't happen then, but I see it happen quite often.
Right. And so to me, again, guys that are in that position, they need to know, okay, if I have the hot chick, and I'm not the best looking guy, hypergamy is real, or this girl is able to cheat with me with a better looking guy. That's accepting the reality of female behavior,
Right, but I don't disagree with this premise that if a higher value guy is going to come along, your girl is just automatically going to cheat on you, because there's plenty of higher, quote unquote, higher looks and higher money guys that have approached the girls I was banging, not even Natty, but other girls, and they didn't go with them again because the concept of investment, because a girl is heavily invested in you. So yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, if it is a very promiscuous type of girl who has low self-esteem, doesn't respect you, then yeah, she probably will go along with a better option. If it's a high self-esteem girl and she's highly invested and her needs are being met, she's not going to go with a quote unquote better option because she's highly invested in you. So, this concept of like female nature, where like girls are these like almost like insects or animals. I guess we were all technically animals, but they just can't control themselves and they have to hop on a higher value dick, is just kind of laughable to me. Like human beings aren't that simple. Let me quickly address Poon
Sure.
Professor, and we'll keep going. All right, fuck FNK lie detector test. Where are the women admitting you slept with them? Period. Where are the women admitting? Well, why? Like, I'm confused. So, like, should I have videos of girls going on my channel saying I fucked Alex? I mean, that would be kind of like social suicide. But I have dozens of lay reports from start to finish. I have videos where like a chick is sitting on my lap. It's clear that I fucked her. So yeah, they're there. But again, I understand why you don't take me up on the lie detector challenge. Let's fucking do it. Okay, let me see if there's anything that he's saying.
Right, right.
Uh, I'm kind of a sick fuck, and I get off on like engaging in trolls.
No, no, you're good, man. You're good. I mean, it's a respectful conversation,
No, yeah, this is
but
this was definitely a good discussion.
right.
Do you own Tinder online dating experiments using Alex, Johnny, and P pictures? Let me know how many women hit you up. LMAO. Okay, so why are you not taking me up? Like you accuse me of lying about my lake count. So why are we not doing it? This can be an easy chance for you to make. Okay, let's just say I will pay you then the triple of whatever the cost is. So this could be an easy chance for you to make money if you're convinced I'm lying. So why are you not taking me up on that? That's the question. Okay, let me see if there's any other comments from this troll. Uh, where are all the chicks claiming Alex and MP and notch count? Well, clearly you don't have any understanding of women because women don't brag about their body counts because women don't say, "Oh, I fucked hundreds of guys." Like most chicks don't fucking do that. So clearly you don't have an understanding of women because women don't brag about their lay counts.
Right. And real quick, Alex, not to cut you off, but
Yeah.
there's a few people in the chat saying I'm 6'4" and why am I black pill? There's two sides of the black pill. Not every black pillar is an incel. Okay. I can agree with the evidence based on the past, based on, women's behavior that I hooked up with a lot of chicks because of my height, because I was an ex college basketball player. Um, I'm gonna be honest, because I'm black, African American. There's just some girls that are just curious to be with black guys, more or less. And I realized, hey, playing here in the United States is game over, whether it's short term or long term. And when I mean short term, it's the expensive dates. It's competing with thirsty guys when I don't want to do that. And, you know, long term, it's the laws here. So if I wanted to settle down with a chick and be in a real serious relationship, I have no benefits of being married here in the United States compared to a country like Mexico where you become an automatic citizen, you're able to own property, and you can still keep your assets here in the United States. So that's why I'm black pilled. And I understand that, you know, dating coaches, they're going to say, okay, everyone's an incel, but this is proof where I'm agreeing with the evidence, period. So I just want to get that across.
Mm. Okay, so chicks don't say they fucked a dude. LMAO, I know chicks who told me chicks don't make videos bragging about their lake count. Why would a chick go on my channel and say, I just want to make a video that I fucked Alex and that was some good dick? Why would a chick do that? Like, what would be the motivation for her? You can see there's a lot of chicks who indirectly basically said that based on the interaction I had with them. So you can see chicks sitting on my lap. You can see, like, for example, in my escalation video, that chick I was like literally making out with on camera and like pulling her hair. So clearly, like I banged that chick. And you can see that I have like shitload of layer reports from start to finish with the screenshot of the girl saying, like, I had a lot of fun, that was hot, whatever. I enjoyed the sex. But no chick is gonna like, why would a chick go on my channel and just say, I fucked Alex, that sex was good? That's just like super fucking dumb. So yeah. All right, anyway, let's I think oh yeah, Natty's commenting that I have a porno floating out there. Yeah, you can look at that. Although would be concerned that Poon Professor would just jerk off to it for like too
Really,
long.
you really do have a porn out there, or are you just fucking around?
Oh no, I do. Yeah, I do.
What, on Pornhub or?
No, it's on this chick's OnlyFans. It might be on
Oh,
Pornhub. It's with the Carla chick. Yeah, it's out there.
Venezuelan girl? Like, the Venezuelan girls are fine. I ain't gonna
No,
lie,
she
bro.
was Cuban. Carla was Cuban.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think is there anything else you want to discuss before we go through some?
No, no, it was good, man. Like, I understand from your perspective. I think you have a little bit more knowledge of the black pill, and guys can kind of reflect and see that, okay, not all black pills are incels. I still disagree with you know techniques or different strategies. I still believe it's just learning from your mistakes, but overall, like, it was a good dialect back and forth, more or less.
No, I think this was a good discussion. I think it went a lot better than I expected, and I think that Again, not to like keep rehashing old points, but I think that you sort of agree with me in a lot of things. I just think that you really don't like the word game. So I think that's semantics. So I think we can call it like strategy maxing then, right? Like it doesn't really matter what we call it, but like we can kind of agree there's some strategies that are better than others. I think it would be interesting if you combine the the travel maxing with the strategy maxing and then with the looks maxing, right? I think
Guys would kill it.
yeah, I think
Guys
that's where we
would
get like
kill
the
it.
lethal combination. A guy who looks maxed, improves their strategy, and travel maxes. That's like a trifecta of like results, right? Like that's just like what you want to do. And yeah, you can get results from just travel maxing, but if you combine it with looks maxing and strategy maxing, that's when you're gonna like really shine. That's kind of like my take on that.
Right.
So yeah, I do.
And like you said, to your definition of game, looks do matter, and
Yeah,
looks is still part of attraction.
yeah, of
So I
course.
want the audience to understand that, even though you're gonna have an audience that believe in game, it's still part of looks. Looks is still part of attraction, even
Yeah,
though I
looks.
don't believe in game, but he agrees on that. So
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have many videos on looks maxing, right? If I didn't think looks were important, I wouldn't, make videos on looks maxing, right? If you like, for example, my product, like literally before we get into like the game aspect, the first chapter is literally on improving your SMV. That's how important I think SMV is, right? So I
right,
literally before I even get into like the pictures, the texting, I talk about improving your SMV. I did a whole very detailed chapter based on that. That's how important I think it is. So yeah, I think everyone should try to improve their SMV. Now, of course, there are like limitations to it. If you're like a 3, you're not going to be a 10. But you can improve your looks within reason. But yeah, I think it's definitely important. Of course, I think that the black pill quite often. I don't think this is you. I'm talking about like other
right,
black pillars.
right.
They have an incorrect definition and incorrect assumption of what game is. So the argument I commonly hear is, well, if game worked, why why do you get rejected? Like if game worked, then shouldn't you be able to bang every girl? Right? That's what they say. And I'm like, no, I won't even bang 50% of the girls I want to bang. I won't even bang 20% of the girls I want to bang, maybe 10%, right? Because most of your, if you're going for hot girls, most of your interactions will be quote unquote rejections. Now, those rejections don't necessarily need to be painful. It doesn't have to be the girl saying fuck off. Most of the time, it's something like, oh, hey, yeah, here, grab my Instagram. So it's something like that, right? And
Right.
that's just part of the process. And yeah, I don't think everyone is on the same playing field. Yeah, I do agree that pickup artists did do themselves a disservice, like RSD, by saying things like looks don't matter. I do think that uh,
Lucario too. I gotta point him out. Go
he
ahead.
says that.
Yeah, he's coming out with a book saying that looks don't matter. So
Yeah, I do agree that PUAs have done the world and their audience a disservice by saying that. I think their intention might have been good. The intention was like, well, if we tell guys that looks don't matter, then they won't make excuses. But I think it did more harm than good. Like I'm a firm believer in just like giving guys the truth and instead of like sugarcoating things and telling people what they want to hear. So yeah, I think that was like a mistake. When PUA said that, and I think that might have indirectly like created the black pill. That's like black
right.
pill is basically a pushback on this idea that looks don't matter. So I think what happened was a lot of guys were getting frustrated. They're like, hey, listen, like I'm doing the same amount of volume and strategy as this other guy, but this other guy's getting better results than me. So what the fuck? And then they just went from one extreme to the other. So they went from looks don't matter to looks are the only things that matter. And they never came to that middle ground where they're like, of course looks matter, but of course your strategy matters, right? They both matter. So I think that's the problem. I think a lot of guys went from one extreme to the other. Like you see this with like sometimes, I don't know, maybe with like politics, right? Someone's like super liberal, right? And they're
Right.
like, and then they just become super conservative, right? They never take like a middle ground, and they realize, there's some things that both sides say that make sense, and there's some things that both sides say that are kind of fucked up.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
That's what I might take. Is there any good questions that you guys want to take before we call it? We've gone
Yeah.
for okay, Poop Professor again. Lie detector challenge. Let's do it. If you are so confident that I am lying, then let's fucking do the lie detector challenge. You pick the facility of your choice. It can be any facility in the Miami driving area, and you're claiming that my late count is not whatever the fuck I say it is. So let's do it, and then the winner will pay the other person. Like, I don't understand why, if you're convinced that I'm wrong, that is something you don't want to do. Okay. Do you have any other? I have a bad habit of like a lot of like my fans have like pointed this out. They have a lot of habit of like ignoring all the constructive questions and just like addressing the trolls.
Right, right. No, no, that's good. That's
I'm gonna,
good.
I'm gonna stop doing that.
You address the trolls, and I gotta give it to you, bro, that you're willing to have black pillars on your stream. TFM, myself. I don't know who's gonna be next, but
Yeah,
at least you're down for the rumble, man. Because a lot of dating coaches, they won't. What you have wheat waffles too.
yeah.
So yeah, a lot of dating coaches, they won't even allow black pillars to come into on their channels. So
Yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid of discourse in general. So that's problematic. I think you see this in the red pill too, like Rolo, Fresh and Fit. They don't want to actually have debates. So yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid of having their ideas challenged um, in general. What about Coach Whitepill? Why can't he get laid like Kevin? Uh, well, I think that Kevin is 6'2", and Coach Whitepill is like 5'7" or 5'8". So there's a
and bald too,
yes,
blatantly bald. So
yes. So there is a significant discrepancy in sexual market value. So let's assume that Coach Whitepill and Kevin have the same exact level of game. They're still going to get wildly different results when Kevin is 6'2", jacked, and has a full head of hair, and Coach Whitepill is not jacked and shorter and doesn't have hair. So that's probably a big part of it. I can't really comment on this game because I never met him. Alex, can you let me on to debate about escorts? Yeah, but what would be the debate? Because I'm not saying there's something wrong with like what would we exactly debate about? Like you would have to tell me like what do you want to debate? Because I don't think there's anything wrong with fucking escorts. Like I think it should be legalized. I think that if people want to do it, they shouldn't be shamed for it. Certainly it could help with like the school shootings and whatnot. If like those guys who are like not getting laid were able to get laid, but I don't know what we would debate about exactly. Okay. What else do we have? Alex, will you tune into my Kevin interview, see if you're comfortable to come on as a guest? Yeah, so let me kind of explain that with a vital message. So the reason I was hesitant, this all has to do with the fact that I went on Mukta Dictionary's channel, and we were supposed to have a debate, and then he was very disgenuine. Meaning every time I would press him on a point, he would just bring on a random person or he would mute me. And I just thought that was like a very disgenuine way of doing a debate. And then furthermore, it was supposed to be a 1-for-1. He was supposed to come on my channel and he bailed last minute. So after that, I was like, I don't know if I really want to go on like black pill channels after that. I guess it's not really fair for me to hold other black pillars responsible for something that one person did. So yes, I will tune into your Kevin interview. I look forward to seeing that. Okay. Anyway.
nice. Yeah, Caduceus, the vital message, sub to that guy's channel. You guys in the chat, good stuff. So that's good. You're open to that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to any kind of genuine discussion. RSD says you can be fat and ugly and bald and get nines. Yeah, I think that's a problem. Like, I think RSD did the world a
No.
disservice by saying that because they set unrealistic expectations. By saying looks don't matter. So yeah, I think that's a problem when you give guys unrealistic expectations. Dude, like if someone, when I got into bodybuilding, someone said, "Yo, Alex, if you work out for 3 months, you're gonna get super ripped." And then I didn't get super ripped, but let's say I made some gains, I would have still been disappointed. I would have probably quit bodybuilding. Okay. What else? I mean, we kind of got through everything.
Yeah, we did, man. We did.
Is there anything you want to plug?
I just think, and I don't know. This is up to you, man. But if you really believe in travel maxing, bro, promote it a little bit more.
Well, I have talked about it a lot. Like I have a lot of videos talking about. The thing is, I haven't traveled in 4 years, so I usually talk about the stuff I do, and so I've been staying put in Miami for a variety of reasons that have nothing to do with game, and so like there's like when I do travel to a new place, I will make a video on it. Like, I think I'm gonna go to Colombia again, maybe like next summer. So when I do that, I will definitely make a video on it. But like right now, I'm just staying put in Miami, so I'm making videos about the stuff that happens. I don't like doing like speculative videos where I just like talk
Yeah.
about stuff in theory. Like, well, in theory, like right now, I'm like kind of focused on I don't know, like I guess doing interviews and podcasts and shit like that. So that's like what a lot of
Okay.
my content is focused on. I'm doing a lot of like reaction videos. I've pretty much covered a lot of text game. That's why you don't see me making like too many texting videos, because I've already covered all of that like very extensively. And if new ideas come to me, because my theories and my strategies constantly evolve, like I will make a video on it. But yeah, I mean, I do talk about it. I'm not opposed to it at all. Like, I think it's great if you can travel. And when I travel again, I will make more videos on the topic.
Okay. Okay. Other than that, that's really it, bro. I'll probably be in a Duke and Don streams, and the Vital Message, and a few other streams here and there. And then for the audience, if you guys want to know more about travel maxing,
My
um,
girlfriend says traveling to Colombia not allowed.
ooh, see, what's up with that restriction?
No, I mean,
Because
she's
she
kidding.
knows there's baddies down there.
No,
She
she knows.
knows.
Yeah, I mean, she's kidding, obviously, but like,
Right,
yeah, she does
right.
know that there's hot chicks out there.
Right. But yeah, for the audience, QB Passport Flexing, that's my channel.
Hey,
I
QB,
gotta,
there's an interesting question.
yeah.
What would you rate yourself based on looks?
Again, when I talked about this earlier on the stream, my rating on looks is the women that I've been with in the past and in the present. You know, so I personally believe that I've been with girls that are sevens and higher, and you guys can look on my channel and see. You guys can be the judge.
But what
But
if you're a guy, for example, who's
mhm.
fucked sixes, who's fucked sevens, who's fucked eights, who's fucked nines? Like you fucked a range of girls. What would you rate yourself in that situation?
The girls that I actually been in like relationships have been 7.5s and higher. The lowest I probably smashed, and we're just talking like because I was just really horny or whatever, was probably like a 6.5. But for the most part, I've been, boyfriend, girlfriend type relationships, I would say with sevens and higher, 7.5s and higher. So if I have to give myself a number just for the sake of the chat, since I'm 6'4", you know, I don't have the whole jawline thing or whatever, but I've been with attractive white women, I've been with attractive Hispanic women, I've been with attractive Asian women. So I would have to give myself that rating, regardless of what Waffle says, regardless of what people say in the chat. I got the receipts. You know what I mean? So if anyone in the chat wants to see it,
You were gonna go
I
there.
will fire away.
I was waiting for you to say receipts.
I will fire away. So if
I
you
know. I
guys,
know you love receipts.
right, if you guys, and I wasn't even trying to go there on the stream, but I will fire away. Like I will launch like a rocket right now with receipts.
I know that. I know that. What
Mhm,
about
right.
okay? What about a fat chick who's dating good-looking white guys? Like, what would be her?
And I'm gonna give this one situation, Alex. There is this girl that, and you guys don't know who she is, so I'm just gonna name the area. She's in Yuma, Arizona, okay? And her, no homo, but like the guy that she's with, seems like a Chad, and I don't date or rate dudes, but this guy is athletic. This guy is like literally my height. And
Well,
when
you
I
don't have to
used
be gay to like rate a dude.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. But I'm saying like, wow, this dude is with a girl like that, and she's not a bad looking girl like face. Like she's actually pretty, but she's overweight. Like she's a big girl. And I think he's only with her because, again, when you're in a small town, kind of like a Yuma, Arizona, or smaller, you don't really have a whole lot of pull of women compared to like Miami, LA, Chicago, Houston, Texas. So the lifestyle is different. Your high school sweetheart You've been with them for X amount of years. You guys end up marrying and having a family. So I think a lot has to do with the geographic location where there's not another pool of women to where he has access to that are more attractive.
True, but I have seen in Miami where there's like a high population, like fat chicks there with like good-looking guys who are like jacked and tall. So I do see that here as well. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of besides the point.
Right, but no. But even in Miami, then I'm gonna say, okay, is this guy a drug dealer? You know what I'm saying? Because we know in Miami there's a lot of dudes that are doing illegal activity that are with banging
No,
hot
no, I'm talking
chicks.
about the opposite. I'm talking about a fat chick with a good-looking guy.
Oh, I don't know, man. Some dudes are just really thirsty, man. If I stayed in Miami, I'm gonna be a bit surprised. Now granted, I haven't been out there like in 10 to 15 years.
Oh, look, we got a fresh and fit fanboy. Alex, you're just jealous of mine. Fucks 9s and 10s weekly. Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
And hold on, Myron Gaines is super socially awkward. Okay, this guy was. You know what? I don't even want to go there on this stream, dog. But that's all right, man. I was really gonna get into it, but that's okay, man. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have quite a few fresh and fit roast videos. Yeah, listen, if anyone else wants to come on for a debate for later, obviously not today, but for a different stream, let me know. I'm always looking for fresh and fit fanboys to debate because there's so few of them. They usually talk massive shit in the comments, massive shit. But then as soon as I come, invite them on for a live stream, they just disappear like Houdini into thin air. I had one guy who challenged me to debate, and he said, "Bro, if I win, you have to hand over your YouTube channel to me or give me $50,000."
What?
I'm like, what do I get if I win? And he's just like not responding. I'm like, okay, this seems like a good bet. I'm like,
Right.
listen, like, why don't you just fucking come on and we'll just do a debate? We don't have to like fucking make crazy bets. And he just disappears. So yeah, if there are any like Oz, Mr. I love to suck Myron's cock fanboy, if you're who can only type in caps, for some reason they can't take the caps lock you off. If you want to come on for a debate, let me know, man. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for a fresh and fit fanboy that can really do something a little bit more than just simp in the comments. But that is an ambiguous goal, so we'll see. Okay. Anyway, so
Yeah.
what were you saying? Your closing thoughts?
Yeah. So again, it was a great discussion. Sub to the channel, QB Passport Flexing. You guys can find me on Instagram at QBWillieB. Blackpill at heart, Travel Maxer, Money Max, Looks Max. I've been all over Mexico. Been with decent looking women. I'm talking 7s and higher. Receipts to show. And again, it's important that passport is life changing. Even if you believe in game, if you're a fan of Alex, still get the passport because he even verified you go to Colombia, you're going to get great results. I still don't believe in game, but that's my opinion. And that's it, bro. That's really it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if you moved your channel into the direction of like traveling to various places and just doing reviews. So you make a video on like each destination, how good it is for like getting laid. That would be very interesting. I don't really see many people doing that. Swoop the World kind of does that. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're not on YouTube. So if you did like just like a review, like, okay, I went to this city, I went to that city, how many, what kind of results I got there, what kind of results I got there. That would be a very interesting direction that I think could bring value to the community.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, guys, thanks everyone for tuning in. Check out QB's channel. This was a good discussion for QB offers. I mean, not QB, fucking Poon Professor. Offers still on the table, although I know you're going to be a little bitch and not take me up on it. And Fresh and Fit fanboys, always down for a good debate. And everyone else, just subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of good videos that we're dropping. This week we got a lot of good stuff. We actually released a pretty dope video today, but we got copyright struck. We did a video on this TV show Love Is Blind, and it was a fucking like epic video. I spent like 2 hours working on it, but we have to wait until we win the appeal. So yeah, guys, stay tuned. Until next time.
All right.